And is that basically true, or is it just I'm getting told that? And that, or really, is there like an epidemic of guys that just aren't fitting within that frame anymore, in your opinion?
Well, I wouldn't put it past men who are liberals and who are really an ally, quote unquote ally. It's such a
It,
gay word.
so real quick to give you a little bit of background, I live in Denver, Colorado, where it's
Oh, well,
liberal as
shit.
fuck.
Yeah.
So
Well, you're in
yeah.
Denver, where it's pretty damn liberal, and a lot of the men there are going to be left leaning. This doesn't mean that men who are left leaning won't work out, but I don't know why that is. I don't know why that is that men who are liberal don't work out. I've met men at my gym who are more liberal than I, and we would probably disagree on a lot of things, but we're still cool in the gym.
So
I
are you
don't,
liberal?
definitely not.
Okay. So do you think then that the masculine frame is stronger with right leaning than it is left?
Yeah, because you're just, you're just more disagreeable. Your political preference makes you more disagreeable because in reality, right now, it's not really popular. Ever since like Trump came into office, it's never really been popular to be a conservative. You're going to
Oh,
get this
fair.
side eye
Yeah,
from a
that's
lot of
true.
people. So to be a conservative nowadays, especially to espouse the type of views that that it shows on this prompt, you're likely to lose your job, get outcasted from your social group, etc. Hell, right now, feminists and liberals. Well, I tend to use the terms interchangeably, but liberals are the type of people to encourage you to become estranged from your family because of political views. So
That's true. I agree
when
with
it
that.
comes to
Yeah.
holding holding frame, for whoever in the audience doesn't know what that is, it's basically having a level of influence and control over yourself and your relationship such that you're not really wavering as far as how women treat you, and you give an air of indifference and a level of assertion with your very presence. It could be how you talk, it could be how you act. But this type of behavior, being indifferent, it's you can't really be supplicative and be indifferent. But if feminism is saying, "Hey, I need you to have enthusiastic consent," well, can I touch your shoulder here? Can I would it be okay for me to unpin your bra? This type of stuff is not. It doesn't inspire any confidence or masculinity, mystery, etc.
Not
This
at all.
is
Yeah.
completely. It's the personification of what a beta male is, even though it doesn't exist, beta males, but we all have an idea what a beta male looks like. Probably on Reddit a
Wait, hold on.
lot,
Hey, hang
drink
on.
soy milk.
Let me stop you there. What do you mean a beta male doesn't exist? I thought they always existed. I thought that definition was that
Well, we have a
of
term that we have understand, and the culture has kind of made it take a life of its own.
like simp.
Yeah. So I hear those alpha beta wolf studies were not, they were like debunked a while ago. That's kind of where the term became popularized.
Oh, okay.
So with that being said, men who are feminine tend to be, you're more likely to be feminine if you're on the left. If you're a feminist, you're really going to be more likely to be feminist or feminine, because you're going to be okay with some of the things that feminists encourage, was like sharing your feelings and staying in touch with your emotional side. Hell, you might start painting your nails. There's just certain things that come with correlated. I don't know that they're directly linked, but I've observed them to be correlated, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. As far as dates go, when you know when to cut off a date? Because if they just say some dumb shit, that's when I normally stop talking to them. But is there
Well,
like a certain time frame?
it depends on what you. I don't know. I don't know if it's just me or I don't really put the onus on women to be particularly intelligent. Um, it's more,
That's
especially at your
fair.
age. Like you sound to me like you're under 35. What did you say your
I'm
age was?
37.
Oh,
I'm
you're okay.
37.
So okay, well, if the woman you're at that age saying dumb stuff, what would you consider as dumb?
Um, oh, I had this thing. I had plans with this girl last Thursday. I told her I couldn't go, and then she started fucking yelling at me, just saying I flake like every other guy.
Um,
That's dumb shit.
yeah, that there's nothing wrong for her to get mad that she can't see you. I think that can be endearing too if it's like a one-off thing. But if she's comparing you to other men off rip, sounds like somebody who's a bit bitter and probably isn't ready to meet a guy who's worthy of settling down with. So I think that would be definitely
ran
something we can
through.
agree is something dumb for her to say. And if you feel like that's, I think that would be a good disqualifying offense. But
So
to answer your original question about women perhaps feigning or maybe trying to flatter you and saying like, oh, there aren't a lot of masculine men. Well, they get what they deserve, right? They create an environment where they neuter men. They call all forms
is
of natural
true.
natural masculinity toxic. So the men who are gentlemen, and because we don't live in a grape culture, men will just say, okay, well, we're not going to deal with you anymore. We'll just go where we're wanted or accepted and not ridiculed. The feminist has become basically a nun with a very sharp finger who's pointing at every man's chest, telling them that they're doing bad things. So
I wouldn't say a nun. A nun has a purpose. Feminism doesn't.
I don't know. What would be a better characterization? She's definitely a teacher with a ruler.
I wouldn't say a teacher with a ruler because they have a purpose too. They teach. Feminism doesn't teach at all.
What about the evil teacher from Matilda? She wasn't really teaching that much.
She was still doing some respectful qualities, right? Putting children in punishments, which I would not agree with the punishments that she was doing. I would say she's more of...
A feminist is more of...
Let me think of a really good... Do you know, like, when you get, like, a really bad hot dog from a gas station that's all crumpled up and so rough and everything that no one wants?
Yeah, but you'd be surprised how many women and men apparently fall for feminism.
Oh, yeah. I would just say that one of the greatest lies was given to us were saying that the cage door was wide open, or saying that we're locked in while the door's open.
Hey, Scat Pack, thanks for coming up. Scott, good to see you, man. Scott, do you mind if I use your real name? Let's see here. Nestia, welcome up, Nestia.
Thanks.
Nestia.
I had a question, James.
Yes, ma'am.
Which is like, you were talking about consent a little bit earlier. Like, is it because earlier, like, I mean, well, like I was having a discussion with someone, and I just want to ask you, like, is it really playing out as you said it? Like that consent is framed in such a way that you have to say, "Can I do this now? Can I do that?" Like,
It is.
Well, the feminists
it
would
can't be
want you
that.
to. I'm not sure if you were on the panel when I had a conversation with Drift about how he's explaining that. And consent is really he wants to highlight consent or define it in ways where there's enthusiasm paired with the agreement. So if you do things begrudgingly, or perhaps maybe you don't want to do it, but you know there's a better good, those things would disqualify that of enthusiastic consent. So it
The
really
two
is a
people
thing on TikTok. He's not the
Or-
first person I've heard say that who's a feminist.
Or another situation, implied consent. Can I ask you a couple questions real quick to see if you would agree with this or not?
Oh, me? Are you
Yeah.
asking me? Okay, go ahead.
So first things first, do you have a boyfriend?
Let's not get personal. Okay, let's
Oh, yeah,
not
yeah,
get
no.
personal.
So let's just say in this hypothetical, you had a husband or a boyfriend. He walks
Okay.
up and gives you a kiss on the lips, right? Would you say that that's SA?
No.
Okay. Well, feminists would say that that's SA because the individual did not give consent for the individual to do that action.
What?
That
Yes.
sounds like the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life.
You can actually, and this is an argument that I've dealt with multiple times while debating feminism, because implied consent is something that a lot of individuals would just agree with. If it is the case, you and your man are in bed and you guys start kissing and everything, typically, if you're in the mood, you're not going to be like, "Hey, is it okay for me to do this action?" Feminists would have a problem with this.
Yeah, but okay, so the thing is, isn't it okay? So you, like the person, like there's a boyfriend, girlfriend, they agree, like they agree, right? They're doing the deed. At one point, if the woman says, "Hey, you know what? I'm not into it," I'm like, okay, for you, you're saying, okay, just so I'm clear, the guy isn't continuing on that road.
No, hold up for a second. It's just very simple, right? If you and in this hypothetical, your boyfriend start kissing, implied consent is both understanding that you guys are doing this action. No one has stopped it yet. You can continue, or you can go until one individual says, "Hey, I don't think we should go any farther." Feminists, on the other hand, are going to say, "Well, both sides need to give verbal consent or understanding that this is okay." Or to what extent
That's crazy. That's like I've never seen this actually played out. Like I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah, well, just because it sounds impractical, that doesn't mean they don't wholeheartedly believe it in principle.
You can go into any feminist live and be like, "Would it be SA if my man walked up and gave me a kiss?" And they will say 98% of the time, I would put money on the line saying yes, it would be SA because they didn't get verbal consent beforehand.
Violet, thanks for the
That
support.
sounds like a dry bedroom to me. That sounds like dry pum pum.
Well,
It sounds like someone that.
Well, when you hear
it's
this type
probably
of stuff,
implied.
Nesty, men are going to say, okay, I don't even want to go into the dating market now, because if I'm going to meet women like this, who are like trying to make relationships even more sterile.
but is that actually a minority, majority? What is it like in your society?
I would
Yeah,
say
I
it's
would
probably
definitely
half
say
and
that's
half
a minority.
because
I've never heard a woman say anything like that. In the
there's
dating.
the
I mean,
intellectuals.
TikTok is.
Yeah. There's the intellectual side, and there's the more like most feminists are live, laugh, love. They're more like libertarian, and they're around choice, but they don't really hold to the principal stances of egalitarianism. The ones who do are more likely to be the consent crowd.
But then at the same time, aren't they the same ones that are like, on the one hand, body count doesn't matter, and then on the other hand, telling women to go sleep with however many people they want to. Like, what?
Have you guys
That's
heard of
crazy.
the Schrodinger's feminist theory?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Please explain.
So the
I have.
Schrodinger's feminist theory is that women are simultaneously empowered and victims, and they go back and forth between the two to
definitely.
fit the situation they're in at the time to get as much as they can.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's 100% fact. They will absolutely claim to be the victim when it's convenient. Oh, I'm just a woman. Oh, poor me, and I'm coward. You know what I mean? But then when it's time I'm woman, hear me roar, and it's just like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think something they're doing that's destroying their availability to do that is, and I'm sure every dude in here could agree, the definition of what SA and the more violent version of that, if you guys get my drift, I know TikTok is touchy.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
It changes so frequently. I've literally had a woman at a bar tell me to my face that she thinks that if a guy stares at a woman for too long and she
That's
gives
okay.
out signals that she's uncomfortable, that should classify as grapes.
Get the
Actually,
heck out of here. Oh my God.
No, but I
Like,
have actually
Yeah.
seen at workplace it happened to a guy for real. This is actual. It happened to a guy where he said just for looking at her, he got in trouble and he was called into HR.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
This
But
is
you
why.
guys,
And that's
this
a
is a North
problem,
American
like-
thing. You guys are out of control. Like it's
No,
a North
women
American
are-
thing.
Anecdotal that you gave, this demonstrates that a lot of individuals subscribe to this. Even if a guy looks at a woman for a few minutes or a few seconds, could be taking a glance. Women and men both look at each other. This is something we do when we find someone attractive. Yes, it falls into this. This is why men are absolutely getting railed right now when it comes to, I need to ask simple things. If I'm looking at you, why do I need to walk up and say, hey, is it okay for me to look at you? That's kind of weird.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing about it, is when you give them the when they say they want consent and this and that and the other, often when you ask for said consent or you do what they're asking you to do, they consider you unmasculine.
I know, that's why I
Oh my
pathetic.
God, that is so true.
And it's just like, well, I'm giving you what you want. You see me as less of a man for doing it, but if I don't do it, I could catch a charge.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying to the other individual, I'm very much anti-feminist.
And another
Like, I
thing
have
is,
no-
I don't know how
I got.
old y'all
Go
are,
ahead.
but
Go ahead, brother.
I'm 46, and I'm 46, and I came from that time period where everybody knows this picture, where the soldiers come home and one of the soldiers grabs, kisses her,
Well,
and
uh-huh.
that's that's kind of what we were born on. I mean, granted, that's you're not supposed to do that now. And later on, they interviewed her and they said, "Yo, I didn't know that guy. He just grabbed me out of the crowd and just started kissing me." But that idea of you see a woman you want, you go up to her and you go get her. That's what I was born on. And now you see women all over the place being like, "Oh my God, men aren't approaching us anymore. Men aren't talking to us anymore. What happened?" And it's just like, y'all told us that you didn't want us to come up to y'all anymore. Y'all told us you didn't want to grab you by the arm and take you on the dance floor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem. Is we're in a world now where women want the power and authority of men, the grace and chivalry of being a woman, and the accountability of a child. You can't have all those things.
Yeah, that's
Like,
basically
if you want to
it.
live that life, that is fine. But you can't expect guys to want to pursue that when they got to walk through a minefield while playing checkers just to talk to you.
It becomes,
You
in
pretty
a
much
way, it
described
becomes
my
very,
wife just now.
hey,
Yeah.
it's a level of authoritarianism in the relationships. When they don't understand what's going to do, is it's just going to drive down people mating, people having children, because barrier of entry, you make it unreasonably high. You must have these social contracts filled out that we make up each year based on our emotional state. You need to look at me a certain way. You need to ask a certain thing. You need to look for my emotional enthusiasm. All these things really just cause unnecessary regulation in the dating market, to where if you just allow basically men being masculine and women being feminine, if you allow that and you create institutions or culture that supports that, women and men would probably fall back in place. But feminism at this
I think
point
it
has
will-
become don't forget, the reason why this is here is because, one, it plays on the insecurities of women who are probably hurt or traumatized, and it gives them something they can subscribe to. And two, it's their express principal goal, which is eliminating patriarchal systems, which are the nuclear family. So if they can drive a wedge, whether it be culturally or institutionally, in between men and women, they will do so, because it gets to their end goal of flattening all hierarchies. It's their intent.
But James, what do they benefit from? Like, if it doesn't, because what I'm hearing from feminists, and correct me, is they're saying, okay, well, it's choice. You want to get married and have a husband and a fence, picket fence, whatever, you go. I don't like. Do they really want to dismantle?
Are you asking?
the women
Are you
I've
asking
talked to,
basically,
like-
hey, I've heard from women, we're feminists, saying you can do whatever you want, and I just support women's right to choose. How does that go with what I'm saying? Is that what you're asking, Nistia?
Yeah, because you said like
Do the presidents and officials that appeal to such a big crowd to give them free shit? Look at Mondani. Look at most leftist policies. It's all about give you free stuff. Well, you're going to need less free stuff if you're more independent. You're going to need less daycare if you have a father in the home. You're going to need less entitlement programs if you have two-parent household. Because
wait, but how? Like,
because
if you
it's
have
statistically proven that the best way to get out of poverty as a child is to have two parents in the home.
yeah, okay. The two parent, no disagreement there. I agree 100%. But you said you don't need a daycare. But the thing is, like, if
You're
you
going
look
to
at
need it
even
less than, okay, if there's two people in the home, that stands
They
to
would-
reason that there's literally 100% more compared to the person who has one. right? That means you're going to be less likely to use that as opposed to a single mom who's juggling a childhood development and her 40-hour job and perhaps more hours. She's going to need to lean on those such systems more, but it's an added benefit for the state because the state has a vested interest in making sure, well, at least the state they want, which is enculturating the child at a younger age so that they can adopt the ideologies that they're perpetuating at this moment. They don't. If you look at the earliest feminist philosophers, they understood that the patriarchal system is a way to, or the nuclear family is a way to replicate society in a sustained way because it's the way values are implanted to the child in a certain way. The child learns, oh, mommy's supposed to be with daddy. And when he sees outside things, he's more suspicious, he or she. But if you learn at a young age that, oh, a broken family is all I know, or a family with 2 daddies, or maybe even 3 or 4, all in one home, they have a vested interest in doing this because they get to eliminate the hierarchy. The hierarchy of man providing for family, mothers
But
staying home.
Okay, so in your idea, like patriarchal society, would it be fair to say that only nuclear, like a man and
Only
wife?
no, it wouldn't be only. It would just be we would formulate institution around that specialty, which is a inherent division of labor that's biologically coded into both men and women.
No, but I mean, if anybody wanted to start like a family outside of that traditional sphere, what would happen in your like?
Well, you ain't getting no government money.
Oh,
That's one thing. And the second
what
thing
is with
is
the government money though? You have a husband, you have a wife. What do they need the government for? Like
they'll
that's what
need
I'm
less
saying.
governmental involvement. But if I could,
Yeah, but why do you need it at all though?
well, because the government is, to me, in my opinion, it's one that encourages the good and punishes evil. Doesn't really need to do anything else outside of that.
But isn't it doing it that now?
No,
like
it's
I mean,
not.
just
It's
you don't.
right
Well,
now-
you don't disagree.
Right
you don't
now,
agree
I would
with
be
it.
punished for trying to take my kids out of school. I would need to sign waivers and all that in certain
Yeah,
states.
but it's still possible.
Yeah, but
right, to
they're
homeschool.
making barriers of entry for humans to do what they're supposed to be doing, which is raising their own goddamn kids. The reason I'm bringing it up is because that's just one little inkling of how the government oversteps its boundary by punishing good. What is another good? Well, perhaps working. Well, they just recently jeopardized that in 2020 with COVID. They jeopardized people's lives if they didn't get a freaking experimental medicine.
Yeah,
So-
that I know.
They're punishing good people in their pursuit of their authoritarian goals.
But isn't that like, I mean, we talked about this before, like it's just democracy. It's like the will of the people. So the people are saying, because if, correct me if I'm wrong again, I don't agree with all those stuff. It's just way overreaching. But isn't basically, it's like the majority spoke. And, some people, unfortunately,
Yeah,
I mean,
but you got to
that happens
understand, though,
in
we're
every
not a
government.
democracy, though.
sorry?
You got to understand, though, we're not a democracy. We're a republic. We're not supposed to work like that by letting mob rule dictate what we do and don't do. And I feel like a lot of people in America, at least, are trying to push democracy. I mean, I'm all for democracy in like the sense of like voting for your president, your congressman, your senator, your mayor, but as a government, we don't operate as a democracy because of the dangers of mob rule.
Yeah, but isn't it basically, I mean, you voted. That's what I'm trying to say is you voted for this. Even if
When
you
you say
didn't personally.
I don't understand, because if you understand the way a democracy works, 49% could completely disagree, but it's irrelevant if the 51% say you're going to do X.
Yeah, but that's the whole point.
Up until the point where there's a upheaval. I won't use the R word.
Okay. But I mean, isn't that what it's about? I mean, you guys agreed that like, that's the society you want to live in, basically.
What do you mean,
I mean, you might.
guys? You
I mean,
act
you
like
might
you act
not-
like when I'm born, I can decide.
No.
Do you want to subscribe to this liberal / central planning low key democracy, but not really? It's really a plutocracy. Do you sign up for this, James? You act like people sign up for this. Everybody's forced to live in a world that they potentially don't agree in because that's how the world works. If you don't comply with when the taxes are called for you, you're gonna get your
Yeah.
wages garnished. If you don't go to jury when they say to, somebody's gonna grab you by the ear who has a government badge. This is how our system
Yes.
works. You act like it's voluntary. It's not
No,
like
but
that.
it
So you
isn't-
can't
it
put
is-
societal accountability on everyone.
No,
it doesn't
but
make
you
any
have to-
sense.
Yes, it does make sense because in line with the what we were talking about earlier, consent. By you living there right now, you're consenting to that. You're saying, okay, this is this is
Where
the
else can I
best
go?
society. Exactly. So that
Where
there's
else
a
can I
lot of
go?
places. There's a lot of places you can
There
go,
is
but you
where
chose
else?
to be there.
Please explain.
Well,
Where can I go?
But
Such
why
that
do
the
you
government
still-
doesn't control and dictate a lot of what you do in order to give you a level of security or civilization.
There are. Okay. Yes, exactly. So the thing is, in order to get the level of civilization, not just you. I'm not talking to you personally, but the people who, like, in the West, they decide, okay, you know what? I don't agree with this government. I don't agree with this or that, but I am willing to stay here because this is the level of
Okay, yeah, we're willing to
convenience
stay
that's
here,
given to me.
Nestia, but now we're going to use the levers of power in our favor now because it's gone too long for where people. Here's the thing. I agree. There's a level of accountability, but here's the thing. The people on the right are actually only now for the times I voted for Trump or whoever. Yes, but it's not like. There's a difference between that, like a level of abstract accountability versus punitive or criminal culpability for things that the state does against our will, right? Against our judgment, right?
But at the end of the day, can you not vote whoever is in power out if you collectively decide, okay, we don't want you, you don't serve our interest? It's just that you
No.
have to. Why?
Not. It's not that
We have a
easy,
pro-
right? Because
Yeah, we have processes that are very hard to fulfill to do.
No, but I mean,
something
like
that.
you have a president for what, like every, like, is it 4 or 5
yeah,
years?
but the left, who tends to be pretty big in our country, tried to impeach him like 3 times in one.
No, I'm not talking about impeachment.
Well, that is
But even,
literally
like-
the process. There is no other legal process that we can do it outside of extreme measures that are
No, but
that,
isn't
that
it
fall
like
out of
when the time
context.
comes for voting? I'm talking about when you are like have the chance to vote. Like you can vote for who you want to vote in, right?
Sure. So if you
So?
trust the election system, yeah.
No, I mean, but you can say, okay, you can say all that, we don't trust it, there's a lefty group, but what I'm saying is at the end of the day, you have somewhat of a voice, like you can go to the polls and vote, right? And you have a voice. Now, there are other people who don't hold the same views as you, who are going to vote maybe, different to you. So that's what you have to contend with. And I think that's where you're at, your fellow citizens.
Well, here's why the left is getting scared, and feminists are as well. This is why they hate the red pill. This is why they hate Trump. Is because they know who put him in power, and they know who subscribes to red pill stuff. Even though I don't subscribe to red pill stuff, what it's doing is actually there's a level of competition that is pushing back against their narratives. So what's new and emergent now is people like Trump getting in office. So you're saying it's cyclical. You might be alluding that it's cyclical. I'm saying it's really not. There's more of like Overton window shifting. So it's not as cut and dry as you're just doing one side of the same coin. I don't think the evidence supports that. Because where else have people been able to sell their box online and have millions to the millions pay for it? Where can you get your wiener cut off and the doctors gives you an order for that? There's completely unprecedented times
Wait,
at
what?
this point.
Wait, sorry, I missed. I'm sorry.
Right, gender
I just...
reassignment surgery is a pillar
yes,
of
okay,
left-leaning
okay.
policy. So I'm just explaining
Gotcha.
a lot of these things are becoming so wacky that it's not really that cyclical.
Gotcha.
But let me just
it's just a
address some
cultural
people in the
shift.
chat here. What does Trump have to do with this argument? Well, leftists hate Trump, and I like Trump, really, because the leftists hate him. That's one of the big reasons why I like him. But let's check, let's see if we can get some feminists up here. Guys, would you guys mind getting the likes up? Perhaps it'll attract some more feminists. I want some, I mean, they don't have to be foaming at the mouth, but
No, I would rather them be foaming at the mouth because then we can put down rabid animals.
well, granted, I like the blood sport. What I will say though is the last couple of feminists I've had are quite you know, their ideologies are abhorrent, but I wouldn't mind having a cup of coffee with them.
They're more capable of having a discussion.
And
now,
for
whereas, like, a couple
anyone
years ago,
that
you
tries to
couldn't
take
talk
that
about
out of, and for anyone that tries saying putting them down out of context, I'm talking about the blood sport. I am not wishing any type of physical harm upon another individual. A lot of their ideology is a joke in of itself, and you can demonstrate how illogical it is.
I'm independent, says Josh. Not a fan of either party, but I'm also an anti-feminist. Well, hey, if you're partyless, that's fine. So long as you're an anti-feminist, I
wouldn't
share
be
a level of
partyless.
solidarity
Like,
with
I
you.
don't even have a problem with like original feminism. It's the
I do.
modern day feminism
Oh,
that I have a
no.
problem with.
We might have got ourselves a covert feminist on the panel.
Do you believe men and women are equal, Adam?
No,
Okay, so then you don't believe in even the initial wave of feminism.
so the initial wave of feminism has nothing to do with it. Was in the ability to vote, sure. Their brains are still human brains. I don't like the whole we're equal in the sense of like we can do what men do. Men
Wait,
can
that's
do
the
what women
first
do.
wave. That was the
That's
first
not
wave.
the first wave.
It
That's not
is.
the
The first wave is going to be that men and women are equal and should be equitable when it comes to the situation too.
In certain things, as far as inalienable rights, yes, I think women should be allowed to vote. I don't
Across
like
the
it,
board.
but they should be allowed to.
Wait, across the board, it wasn't in certain cases. If we're talking about the first wave of feminism, this came after communism, and they were using communism dogma to be able to say that men and women are equal, which this is
Yeah.
just a false statement in of itself.
I don't agree with
Why?
that, but I do think women should have the right to vote. I don't agree with the
Why?
ideology as a whole because they contribute
why-
to society in other ways that men can't. So they should have a right
In
to say
what
things
ways
too.
do they contribute to society better than men?
Childbirth.
Okay,
Rearing-
cool. They don't need the rights
usually
to vote to be
nurturing
able to bear
children.
children.
I think the people who produce more people should have at least the right to vote on certain things.
I would say that the individuals that are required to go off to war to protect our value, right, as men, our wives, our children, should people have more say than the individual at home. When it
Well,
comes
see,
to
if you're going to go down that
family-
path, that's fine, but then we got to go back to the paths of our forefathers, which was only people in the military were
Yeah,
allowed to vote. Only people
so
who
all
owned the
men were
land were
automatic.
allowed to vote.
Yeah, so all men were automatically put into the draft at the age of 18 if there was a conflict. So yes, I have no problem with doing
Sure.
this. This is why I enlisted at the
Well, no,
military when I was
Back in the
17.
day, it wasn't a matter of draft, because it was a matter of if you were in or had been in the military. This is back when
What
the
year are
country
we
was
looking at?
founded.
Because initially it was owning property, then it was going to be people inside of the military, and then draft, where every man above the age of 18 was automatically put into this. When has it only been the case where it was only men inside of the military?
I think it depends on how far back you want to go, like pre or post 1776, really. But my thing is if you're going to go down that route, I agree with you. I think if you don't contribute to society, you shouldn't be able to vote. If you're a net negative or you are a person who doesn't contribute anything, I don't think you should be allowed to vote, because if you can't even take care of yourself, why would I trust you to vote for who's going to run this country? Whether you're male or female, I don't care. But
Contribute to society so anecdotal, or at the same time so, what's the word? Let me find the proper word for it. So arbitrary. Because if I contribute $1 to society, is that morally permissible for me to have this right to vote? All of a sudden, I would
no,
disagree. and
that's
say
not
no.
you know what I mean by contribute to society. Let's not
You
go
said
into
contribute.
semantics.
You said
Yeah,
contribute.
said
contribute.
contribute.
Actually contribute, not a dollar.
Well, what is
I'm
actual
talking about
contribute? How
business
do you make
owners,
that?
landowners, people who served in the military, people who actually contribute in a
All right, well,
actually track
not
like,
all-
okay, this person.
well, happy.
seriously
Doesn't that
not
sound like a
all-
good concession? Women are less likely to own business, anyways.
A
or
business
That's
contributing
what I'm
them
saying.
into the military?
I'm cool with that. I'm
I'm
cool
not-
with that. That's what I'm saying.
I'm
If you
not,
don't serve
but-
in the military,
But I'm
you
just trying to
should
see
have a right to
if
vote
you
for
guys
certain
would agree
things.
on that. Would you agree
Yeah.
on that? Happy
which part?
women
Women
who
wouldn't be.
women who
yeah,
own
so
businesses, can
typically
they vote?
women- No, I would disagree.
Yeah, same here.
I think if you employ enough people and you have a proper business, yeah, I think you should be allowed to have a
Well,
vote.
it's interesting you talk about contribution, because the word
That's
is
so arbitrary.
arbitrary, but women don't contribute in the same way to society that men do as far as rights are concerned.
aspect that women contribute to is going to be childbirth. Every other category, I can demonstrate that they're a net negative when it comes to the situation. Physical mass, men have the absolute monopoly on average. When it comes to engaging with other conflicts or engaging with medical, being able to lift bodies, be able to understand more aspects, men typically dominate these fields.
Swole Game, thanks for the
Wait,
follow.
can I ask a
Swole Game.
question?
Yes, you have been
Yeah,
up here for a while, and you sound like to me, opposition.
A feminist.
Jack
I
Daw.
am
Jack Daw.
opposition. Jack Daw, yeah,
Yeah,
Jack
my
Daw,
bad.
or
Well,
Adrian, either
Adrian,
one.
welcome up. What's your age?
Howdy, I'm 23.
All right, thanks for coming up. It sounds like you were summoned. Did I summon you? Did you feel the need to come up?
No,
You're welcome, you're welcome.
I saw it on my For You page, and
problem.
I used to debate a pretty significant amount, back in the golden age of debates.
Oh,
But I've simmered down a little bit. I graduated, and now I'm very calm. But I saw this, and I was like, oh man, I love, arguing and getting in these big old fights. So I came up here,
Fair enough.
big versus sign between you and I. And
well,
it's
you have a
gonna
contention
be-
that I'm sure you came up with. So what's going on?
Absolutely. So I overheard the conversation that was being had, and I heard something that I haven't heard in a while, which is, oh, men and women aren't equal. And I think that you meant men and women are not identical, because usually within the context of, feminist rhetoric, not that I'm all that well read on feminist rhetoric, ironically enough, but usually we're just talking about having or deserving of the same, fundamental rights, respect, value, opportunities in society, having those things be open to both men and women, whether or not they want to join. For example, a woman should be able to be a construction worker if she really wants to do it. Obviously most women aren't going to go into that because they realize that they're going to have to do a significant amount of heavy lifting. So most women don't go into that. But, some women do, and I
appreciate
think
the
they should be
honesty.
allowed to.
Wait,
Yeah,
Jack
but
Daw,
merit-
why ought women be allowed to go into construction outside of preference or our feelings? What's the argument for that?
No, I don't have an argument for that. I don't think that
Okay,
they
so
should
then
not
don't
be
assert-
allowed in
Wait,
construction.
then don't assert when it comes to the situation, because you said, yeah, if an individual, a woman, wants to go into this classifications of construction, I'm asking you to demonstrate a logical argument of why ought it be the case we allow women into this field.
I think that it is positive to, simply leave that door open. I honestly,
just an
or
emotional
actually, you know what? I
pull.
think that we could probably make the case that it's more neutral, if anything. I think that closing it would obviously not be courteous to the 5% of women
Why
who
ought we be
are in that
courteous?
field. So if we're
Why
going to
ought we be
measure it
courteous?
by, util, which is what I usually do, right? I think that it is less util. I think that it is negative, right? If we were to close that field to women, if we were to take
Negative
that
is very
5% of women
subjective
out,
to-
in the same
Yeah,
way
so-
that I think that it would be slightly negative to take out the 3% of nurses, like CMs, that are men. I also think that would be negative, right?
Yeah, so you still didn't answer the question that was proposed to you. You said
What was
we
the
need
question?
courteous. Yeah, so you initially said, yeah, if an individual, a woman wants to go into construction, we ought let her.
Sorry,
asked-
should.
Should and
My
not, they're the same,
apologies.
right, Jack?
Should.
Yeah, why
should
should
not?
we let them? Yeah, why should we let them go into that field outside of emotional appeal? What's the argument? Or outside
Yeah, one
of,
more time. Do you know what util means?
Yeah, utilitarian is a joke in of itself.
Oh, are you Aristotelian? I liked
No, I'm
Nicomachean Ethics. Oh,
All right.
what do you? Okay, what
Well, I'm enjoying this
philosophical,
conversation.
Yeah,
playbook
that
do you
doesn't
usually
matter.
go by?
Wait.
Pause
Yeah,
for a
it
second.
doesn't
Pause for a
matter.
second, guys.
Well, I
For
think it
just-
does
hold on,
matter
hold on,
if you're
hold on,
going to
guys,
judge
guys.
mine.
So, I don't mute anybody here. I just ask for order in the court every once in a while. So, for everybody in the chat, man, I think this is a good little scuffle we have right now. Would you guys mind getting the likes up? Perhaps it'll attract more feminists, more intellectuals like the one we have here.
It doesn't. you
Oh
made this
no,
statement.
I'm very mid-witted. Don't be fooled.
Yeah, well, you like to
Yeah,
play
Jack
coy
Daw.
too.
Yeah,
But-
Jack Dahl, you made the statement. I didn't make the statement about my worldview. So when it comes to the situation, why ought it be the case?
Yeah, so I think that it's kind of
I think
strange
it's
to.
So rephrase your statement.
Do you want me to answer your question?
Yeah, rephrase your statement because you said I think this is a preference-based statement in of itself. So rephrase it.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So, all right. How about we say there is no harm in allowing women into construction?
That's very
How about I
subjective
just say
as well.
that?
Yeah, there's
How is
no
that
harm.
subjective?
Yeah, so is harm objective or based off the individual's preference?
I believe that in this case, harm is objective, considering that it is outside the mind.
Wait, so for example, if the individual on the site in construction, one man, thinks that it's harmful because he can't say certain words anymore around women because he would be reported to HR, that individual is going to say that this is objectively harmful to them.
You could say
Other
the same thing about any other man that's on the
No, when it
field.
comes to
Like,
the
say that there's a
situation,
man who, like, oh, okay, you know what? Say that there's a white man there, and
Jack Doll,
60%
that
of them
just
are
demonstrates
white.
that it's
60%
subjective.
of them are. Wait. Listen to me
Well,
really
just
quick.
let her finish her
60% of
point.
them are white, right? And let's say that one of those white guys is like, hey, I can't say the N-word anymore because there's one black man on my team, and he would get offended. Therefore, it is harmful to have this one black man on the team, so I want
So
him
then-
off. Would you say that that is also justifiable in the same way that you would think that
Yeah, we're
it's
attacking your-
justifiable for a man
yeah.
to say that it's negative?
Yeah, so
You're
Jack
not
Doll,
attacking my worldview very
Hold
well,
up.
big guy.
Jack Daw, you made the statement that harm is objective when it comes to the situation. This
Absolutely.
is demonstrating. Wait, this is demonstrating that it's based off the individual's preferences. That it wouldn't be objective, and then it could be the statement in of itself. Yeah, it would be harmful to those men.
So you genuinely believe that that's a measure of harm, that that's a degree we should be measuring? That's my argument here, is that we ought not be measuring that at all. That's why I say that it's objective.
So then, why did you bring up harm? Because you said
I
harm
brought
was
up harm
objective.
in the most objective way, in a way that is measuring money, economy, in a way that is measuring strength, efficiency. I think
I would-
that is where we ought to be measuring harm,
Wait, that
especially
would
when
still
it comes to like construction, for example. If a woman is very efficient in her job, if she's practiced, if she is able to lift the same amount, if she is able to, which I realize is going to be in the top tiers, right? Then we're looking at literal physical objectivity. This is first grade here.
Wait, yeah. This actually go with the GDP and money when it comes to the situation. Were we better off with women not being in the workforce versus how it is now? Because women.
Why do you
typically-
think that is?
No, wait. Yeah, I would just say women typically take on 2 to 3 times more debt upon themselves than men when it comes to the situation. Yes.
Did you go to Economy 101, big guy?
I went to more than Economy 101. I went
I
to
don't
my local
believe you, not
library.
even for a moment. Why
Yeah, I
is
went
it that women have
I went
more
to-
debt in the United States?
Yeah,
Do you know
typically
why?
so it's typically based off of multiple factors. One of them is going to be higher education, which our
There you go.
education system is a joke in of itself. And on top of that, there's
What do
multiple
women
other-
usually get educated
Well, just
in?
let them. Well,
liberal arts, if we're talking about the
Is
majority.
that the first one, really?
Yeah, if we're talking about the majority, it isn't going to be something that is in STEM field.
Actually, it is. It's going to be biology, big guy.
Actually, it's not. I can demonstrate based off of multiple resources, the NIH and multiple other, right?
I'm going off
EDUs.
of Pew Research Center. I'm looking at it right in front of me right now, man.
Yeah, what's the PMID?
Yeah, absolutely. 1 second, man.
hey, for everybody who's enjoying this conversation, that is almost above my IQ level. Please get the likes up. Let's get some likes in here.
Yeah, it shouldn't take you this long to get the PMID. It's at the top.
I
I'm
like
sorry
some
that
guys.
they didn't teach you this in college. I learned this at the local library for $2.
I didn't go to college, big guy.
Oh, nice.
Hey, that's pretty cool of you, Jack.
That's actually pretty based.
Reasonable says, why is she using an argument from authority about qualifications?
It was a pleasure talking to y'all. Catch y'all later.
All right, man.
Good luck,
Pleasure.
Deuces.
Shay, your degree is in biology.
It is.
Hey, shout out to
I'm
you.
sorry for you.
I mean, it
Why
could
are
have
you
been
sorry- hold on, hold on one
biotech.
second. Like, I've been listening to you for a minute, so why are you sorry for me, dear?
A degree in biology, our education used to be so much better, and at the same time, the quality used to be so much equal to what you were paying versus how it is
So
now.
I finished my degree in 2006 because I was also a wife and a mother. So I took
Oh
my-
no, I'm just talking about our education system.
Second thing, I own 3 businesses. You know why? Because my father's not responsible enough to run his ranch. And
Mm.
because my son depends on me to help him run the finances in his business. And because my daughter, I just made a managing partner in my own business. So women are quite capable of running businesses, sir, and paying taxes. So although I am not a feminist, Don't disrespect my education or my ability to
I
manage money
didn't
because I have
disrespect your
no
education.
debt. I have
Yeah.
no debt. We
I
loan
didn't disrespect
ourselves.
your
Wait a minute.
education.
No, I listen to you now. You can listen to me. We loan ourselves money. My father just wanted to buy a $50,000 horse project. Do you know how we did it? Because there's 4 of us, so that's $12,500 each to make the investment in the horse. So nobody had to take out a loan to purchase this horse. So just
Nice.
because we're female doesn't mean we're not good with our money. And that's the only thing you've said that has offended me. And as long as I have to pay and manage the amount of real estate and taxes that I have to pay, sir, I will be voting. And
You
I
feel
don't
the
care
right.
that you don't like it.
Okay, well then that's before you respond, Happy. This does seem to be a nice little yellow brick road we can go down, guys. So for
Yeah.
anyone in the chat, do you guys want to go down to after Jack gets these the PMID or whatever it was called? Do you want us to go down the road of workplace, women representation in the workplace? Should women be in the workplace like this? Should we bar them from the workplace? Or do you guys want to go down the voting aspect? Should they be voting? I think they're interlinked, but where would you guys like to go?
Here's
Sorry,
for-
I was
problem with
going
that.
down this little rabbit hole. So I was looking
Workplace.
at the PMID and then I looked at a couple different things. Actually, you are correct. The total raw number of women often graduate with liberal arts and general studies degrees rather than specific nursing degrees, except
Well-
for the fact that both are top fields for female college graduates.
Cool. So when
I
it
think
comes
generally, if you're going to be making the argument that liberal arts degrees, because that's usually where they go to college for, that makes it, absolutely useless. Sure, I don't think an arts degree is necessarily a good thing. I also want to make the point, however, that men generally carry a significant amount of debt right next to women, not because of an education, but because of credit card debt, which I think
Thank
is
you.
also irresponsible.
Yeah, so Jack Doll, when we talk about credit card debt or at the same time education, there's 2 different classifications here, right?
Sure, absolutely.
Hold up. So, and let me finish my statement. So, yes, I was right when it comes to liberal arts. Yes, most women that go to college are typically going in for liberal arts. This is going to be a useless degree. Men
Mhm.
typically go to trade or at the same time go straight into blue collar fields, or certain men would also go into like white collar, but that's a whole other argument of itself.
Can I say something?
Credit
Well,
card
we're going to let this back and forth continue.
Yeah, so credit card debt wouldn't be equivalent here because if we're talking about on average credit card debt versus education, it wouldn't be equal. Women are still 2 times more likely to take unnecessary debt upon themselves.
Wait a minute. So
Shay-
let's get back to the credit
Shay,
card debt
Ru-
thing.
Well,
Well, hold on
I
a
mean,
second.
because-
Hold on a second. Jack, right now it's in between Jacked Out and Happy. Do you guys
Yeah, I
want
wanted
to
to
allow,
ask
do you
a
guys want to allow
question.
interjections?
I guess it's fine. I
All right,
don't care
Jack
too much.
doesn't care. Happy, what about you?
I want Daw to engage and present the argument of how credit card debt is going to be equivalent to college debt because
Absolutely.
when we use the
Absolutely.
metrics that is demonstrated, women are still 2 times more likely to take unnecessary debt upon themselves.
Oh my God.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So I think that when you're talking about unnecessary debt, I think that a significant amount of credit card debt can also be deemed as unnecessary, especially when we're looking at those large ticket impulse buys that men usually have, like significantly more than women, right? When we're
Right.
looking at dining out, when we're looking at entertainment, when we're looking at impulse buys, you can look at gaming, you can look at laptops, you can look
Women
at
do this more than
cars.
men. Yeah, wait. So when we talk about
Women
it,
don't do this more than men.
Wait,
This
yeah,
is
we
a
can-
significant contributor. I'm
Hold up.
looking at the Federal Reserve Board right now on the
So
Fed
if we're
notes, gender
yeah, hold on.
differences in credit use and credit scores. Do you want me to read it out to you, big guy?
Yeah, I've read the situation. If we're talking entertainment,
not.
if we're talking entertainment, is it the case that the individual that is taking the necessary debt upon themselves, is it with a family or is it a single guy?
Okay, let's see. It doesn't say in the data set. Hold on.
So then that's where it becomes a problem. You would have to look into the situation of single
Well, let me
men.
just look into the data set. Hold on.
Hey, for everybody in the chat, let's get the likes up for this. What I believe is a good faith feminist. This is
mean,
rather
they kinda-
this is rather refreshing here.
They tried to make the statement that most women go to school for biology, which this is a false statement. It was liberal
Well,
arts.
She, her, big guy. I know I know my voice is a little bit deep.
Well,
I know you're a lady. Well, I knew you're a
You
woman.
said Jack as your name, so I'm going to assume that it's a dude.
That's fair. I'm not angry about it.
Hey,
I
but
get
there's
a lot.
some white women in the world in America named Jack. Sometimes it's just
I've
not
never-
always common.
It's short for Jacqueline, isn't it? Also?
True.
Oh, But
All
I
right.
want to just
It's interesting that
Well, hold
you
on, hold
don't
on.
want to date the woman that has the degree in biology, that owns 3 businesses, that got her own father out of $20,000 worth of credit card debt. I find it interesting that
Hey.
you want to pick on Jack, but you don't want to engage
Shay,
with him.
Okay,
hold on,
okay.
Shay, hold on. Shay,
a
hold on a
second.
second. Hold
Okay.
on now.
Debate
Hold
in
on,
a minute. I
hold
want
on,
to
I
simmer-
just want to quickly.
Hold on, guys.
just
Simmer
quick
down,
question.
simmer down right now. Right now, it's apparent that Jack wouldn't mind interjections, but
Yeah.
Happy wouldn't. So
make it-
Happy does not want interjections at this moment. So we're gonna let
Wait,
this
so
ensue.
Jack, are you okay with me debating Shay real quick? Because I want to destroy Shay when it comes to this
Go
argument.
ahead. Okay, I seriously doubt you
I think
can.
I'm
Come
still
on.
looking into it. So
Yeah.
this specific one from the Federal Reserve account debt usage, credit history, average. Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, you can look into that.
Yeah,
This
educational
one-
attainment, race, and income, and age. It doesn't account for like single and not single.
And that's where it would be a problem because if an individual is a father and he wants to pay for his family to go out to eat, I wouldn't say that that would be equivalent.
Right,
to-
but the mother can also do this. 50% of the workforce right now is women.
I wouldn't say 50% of the workforce. It wouldn't be exactly.
Sorry,
50.
did you want to say 47? Do you really think that that's like enough
Yes.
of a standard deviation to account for
Yes.
this gap? Is
Yes.
the 3% really? You would say that the 3% is enough to account for the credit debt. You would say that that's enough to account for it? Is the
If we're-
3%?
Wait, if we're talking about the 47 to 50, whatever percent, sorry, I'm also at work right now.
You're
When
fine.
it comes-
It's okay.
Yeah, so when it comes to the percentage that is presented in of itself, you said it was 50-50. I would disagree when it comes to us actually engaging in good faith and understanding the dialogue that is presented. I do not want you to have a foundation to your argument that is false and at a later point me having a cop out and say, well, you were wrong about this.
Okay,
issue."
here, let me type it into my little laptop here.
Wow, Jack,
what
Jack, why are you
percentage-
so nice?
Oh, I've been doing this for years.
Oh, that's cool. Shout out to
I've
you.
also been doing this for years. Me and you're the same age. And yes, I would recommend going to the library instead of going to your local college or university.
Dude, I haven't gone to university. I do go to the library consistently.
Yeah, that's why when you said Ecom 101, I was like, yeah, 100%. I learned this for $2 at the local library.
Okay, big guy. So, really quick. Yeah, it's 47% and the gap is still closing. It's been closing for quite some time now. I think that we might see like a little bit of a, like a hiccup coming in soon just because we see a lot of the, trad wives and everything like that. But we also had that like back in 2023. So I don't know if we're going to be seeing a whole lot of that.
So, yeah, as I said, it wasn't a true 50-50. That's why I wouldn't want you to make a statement that's false.
Right. But 3% is not nearly enough to account for the credit card debt like issue here that we're looking at. Like
Here, let's
high
just keep it
ticket
simple.
prices.
How much is 3% of the population when it comes to the workforce?
Okay. I think that the argument that you're trying to make here can
How
be
many-
made if it were the case that the credit card debt had more of a deviation, or would it be more or less of a deviation than 3% for men and women? But the
I would
case
say-
right now, that's not the case, right? We're looking at more of a deviation between men and women when we're looking at credit card debt.
Yeah, but it wouldn't also take into the situation of single. You also agreed that it didn't do this factor, which that would also be a horrible statistics.
Right. The reason why I said that I don't think that that would necessarily matter as much is because if, since most of, families in the United States are nuclear families or a mother and father and their child and or children, the
I would disagree
mother,
with that.
considering that 47 to 50 something, which for some reason we can't put our noodles together and figure out what the other part of that 50 is, 57, I guess.
Yeah, it's 57. It would be, it would
is-
be 53 because 47, 53.
Oh, thank you. Jesus Christ. Yeah, don't mind me. I'm just an XX chromosome user. I'm not very good with math.
That's why you should
I
be in the
think that we're
computer.
not
Simple.
I think that we're not necessarily going to be able to say that, like, because of this 3%, this is why, like, men are usually paying for, what'd you say, like, they're paying for dinner more often?
Yeah, paying for dinner, trying to engage with other individuals of the population to find a wife or a partner. This could also be the case.
And
This
you
is
believe
why-
this is what's causing the credit card debt?
Yeah, causing credit card debt for men is based off of multiple factors. One of them is going to be back then, it was typically just going to be one individual that had the unnecessary debt, which this made our GDP a lot better than how it is today. So when it comes to unnecessary debt, or at the same time, the exchange, when women enter the workforce, everything went up. The cost of living, everything did, because this is going to be cheaper labor, and this is affecting our economics.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Why don't we just like cut the number of workers in half? Like, why exactly do the workers necessarily need to be men? Like, for example, if we're looking at, specifically nursing, and I think that this is probably the biggest place I could, point to at this point. If we were to replace, these like 98% of nurses who are taking care of our elderly, taking care of our sick and injured,
Yeah,
with
CNA,
men.
RNs, LPNs. Yeah, just go with this situation. I would actually argue that this ought be the case.
Really?
Women,
Why?
yeah, so women typically do not have the physical strength to be able to engage with longer activities with the elderly, like moving one patient from one bed into the wheelchair and doing the action. I can give you sources from the NIH and others. When it comes to the situation, a lot more women would get hurt into this.
Right. I think that generally, though, when we're looking at graduation rates, they tend to graduate significantly more often than men. They tend to especially go after later education more often than men as well. So if we're seeing the case that, like, oh, maybe a woman won't be able to use the, what's it called? That big
Forklift?
machine that's meant to, like, lift a person or
Forklift?
whatever.
Oh,
You know.
freaking Foyer lift or something?
Yeah.
Not a Foyer
Probably.
I forget what the damn thing is called.
Totally.
No, it's a forklift.
That would
We're
be so
going with it.
sad.
No, it's a
Forklift.
forklift. 600-pound life. I've seen this.
If-
Individual 600-pound life. They use a forklift. So we're just.
I wasn't going quite to 600 pounds, but
No, I'm going
You're basically
with
saying
a
they
forklift.
can use technology that'll help them.
yes, they can use technology, but on top of that, I'm more focusing on the fact that they graduate and are able to work sooner. That's more what I'm focusing on than anything else, because we need nurses like a crazy amount, especially right now.
Yeah, so this would be just simply economics. If we cut the workforce of females into this in this field, right? What would happen to the pay in this field?
Do you think that it would go up because they are men?
No, I would say it would go up because it would be the lack of it. So when it comes to supply and demand, if you have a lack of workers, right, in that field, they're going to be very competitive, and they're going to have to offer rates where individuals are enticed to go into this field.
I mean, this is something that's been happening for the last little while. Do you know how much like an average, RN makes right now?
Yes, it depends on the state also. Like, for
Of course,
example,
of course it depends on the state.
So when it comes to the situation, it would be anywhere between $30 to $48, right? In my
Yeah.
state, typically RNs make roughly around $43. Also comes with experience, and a lot of them are also salary. Unless if you're working at a hospital, then it could be also hourly.
Yeah,
So
man,
when it
absolutely.
Yeah, so when it comes to this, cut the supply in this. And when it comes to the economic factor, yes, the jobs are going to have to be very competitive to get men into this, and it would help a lot more than actually hurt us.
I think that a lot more people need these jobs than anything. I think that we are at a point where, like, you could say, oh, we could cut the workforce in half. I don't know what these people would go and do afterwards. Like, for example, if we were to replace them like
Children.
1-to-1 with men, what would they like? What would like with their with their own husbands? Let's say, for example, what would this do? What would the good thing be here? Like, if
Yeah.
you're saying just cut it in
It would
half
be
and leave all
full-time
the
men.
women, okay, whatever. I think that's fine. But I think that your argument has almost nothing to do with gender, which is the crux of this argument.
Wait, so hold up. So there's two aspects to my argument. First is going to be the monopoly on force. Men on average are physically stronger than women.
Oh my.
And the second aspect to the argument that I've been presenting to you is going to be the economic factor. You said, how is this going to be helpful? Because
We
these
can
jobs-
talk about Andrew Wilson a little bit later. I more want to focus on your
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
thesis
the-
here.
Yeah,
where
the
you were
argument I've been
talking-
presenting to you first is women typically get hurt in the medical field by lifting patients. And on top of that, if we cut women out of this field, right, what do you think these jobs have to do? They have to
I
pay
think-
more, or they have to offer some type of thing that is going to entice men to join this field.
Right. So I think the first off, I would want to see the NIH numbers, and I feel not feel, I almost know that the difference here is going to be accountable for population. If you have, 99 orange marbles in a bowl and you shake them up with 3 blue marbles in that bowl, obviously you're going to have significantly more large orange marbles in the smaller bowl that you end up pouring it into than you do. There's going to be more variation, and therefore you're going to see a little bit more women getting hurt on the job because there are more women on the job, right?
No,
I
if
think
we
that
look
that's
at per
absolutely one of
capita,
the factors that we're going to be able to count for here, even if I do look into the PubMed article, which I do want to see,
yeah,
obviously.
I have no problem with doing that. Now, if we use per capita for this situation, it would just demonstrate that the basic biology of the differences between men and women. Testosterone is a wonderful painkiller and at the same time able to engage a lot easier for men than women on average.
Yeah, don't women have thicker dendrites within the context of their neural activity, and therefore they're able to handle certain stressors significantly better? Have you ever seen that study about how women are able to take tattoo pain tolerance significantly better than men, and why? There are certain
Yeah,
things in this
they can
world that
even
can say okay, women are a
rips.
little bit better with this specific type of stress. Women also tend to be better when it comes to stamina type stress, which is why I thought it was interesting that you were talking about these 12 to 13-hour shifts. I think that women are exceptional when it comes to these shifts, right?
I
This is
would
something that we were kind of
disagree.
bred and bored for.
I would disagree because if we look at women on average when it comes to 12 to 14-hour shifts, this hurts them a lot more. I do 12 to 16-hour shifts at my blue collar and then at the same time military, and guess what? It doesn't have as much of a negative effect on me versus a woman.
Well, let me sympathize with you for a second here, man. I think that when we're looking within the context of the 1960s, let's go all the way back then, when women were commonly, much more commonly, waking up instead of their husbands for their babies that they just had constantly throughout the night, every 3 hours, going, 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 going. After that, they had to stay up for, the next 16 hours, doing the housekeeping, doing the laundry, doing the, whatever housekeeping, housework, while taking care of the babies as well. And they were expected to have a
Yeah,
lot
the
more.
easier work.
I think that it's interesting that you're saying that you're able to pull off these shifts better than women, but I know that you're taking this from personal accounts, first of all. And second of all, I think that it's important that we consider that evolutionarily, both of us are meant to be able to perform these stamina type jobs decently
I
well
disagree.
because we took this in ship. Disagree with which one?
Yeah, the
I said a
stamina,
lot.
because if we're talking about the stamina aspect in of itself too, women aren't on average mass runners or long distance runner compared to men. Yes, the numbers have been going up for women, but this doesn't make it the case. And if we're talking about this, I can also give you a source, right? If I leave the TikTok live, I'd be able to do this, but I would have to request again. But I will also send you a follow so I can be able to send you all my sources when it comes to this.
Yeah, it's
So-
totally up to you, man. But when
Taco
it comes
Cat,
to
thanks for the hold on
stamina,
a second, guys. Taco Cat Supreme, thanks for the follow. Mollian, thanks for the follow.
Yeah, but stamina on average, men are going to have a higher stamina capability than women. And yes, if we're talking about pain, right, there's different aspects to pain and it's going to engage with different aspects of the body. This is self-evident. Men can be able to engage and get a broken arm and a broken leg by a pew-pew and be able to walk it off a lot better than a woman could.
so I need to push back on a couple different things here.
Before you push back, I know you want to push.
You're fine.
Key Finnock, thanks for the follow. And it looks like you followed twice. Thanks for sharing. Did you follow and unfollow? No, wrong person. Mollian, I think I said. All right, guys. So you wanted to push back, Jack.
Absolutely. So I think it's important that I bring up this really, really good article from Sarah Achenbach or Sarah Lacey and Rebecca Achenbach, I think was their name. They're two very, talented anthropologists that I've been following for some time now. And they came out with this study called Woman the Hunter. It goes after, the specific ways that we hunted, pre-Neolithic era. So, before 10,000 years ago, before the agricultural revolution. It talks about hunters and gatherers. It talks about the way we hunted, and it talks about the specific benefits and the powers of estrogen within the specific context of stamina, right? It's talking about influencing fine motor skills and coordination. It talks about, specific reduction when it comes to, what's it called? Blood pressure. It's talking about, the improving insulin sensitivity and glucose metabolism. There's a whole list that I could,
Yeah, I've read this.
give this. You have. What did you think? You didn't
I
like it?
I don't agree with it. There's multiple
Why do you
reasons.
disagree?
Yeah, so when we talk about the Nero age, or at the same time individuals of hunting and gathering, it wasn't the mass scale of women actually doing this. They assert, based off of certain tribes that they appeal to, that this would be the general population, which this would be false.
Wait, you know that they're basing this off of a study that was not necessarily of current tribes, but it was based off of a study of findings of skeletons. It wasn't based off of current
the
tribes.
finding of skeletons trying to say that this is to be the case based off of this tribe. They don't actually know. They're
No,
presupposed.
it wasn't just a tribe. It was multiple different
Yeah, I
tribes
said
across
multiple
South
tribes.
and North America.
And they were appealing to certain tribes for the action. So when it comes to the situation, if we find your skeleton holding a spear, would we have
Yes.
known if you were actually a hunter or a gatherer? We can
Absolutely, because those specific tools were very different, right? Achulian technology has a very specific feel to it when you really get into it. I'm a big anthropology nut. This is a huge field for me right now. You might be a little more into economics. I'm very into anthropology. When we're looking at Achulian technology, we can tell by like the specific attention to detail within the context of curvature, whether someone was using a tool to cut a plant or whether someone was using a tool to dig into the bone marrow of an animal that they had just, murdered. Like,
Wait,
it's
so if I
really
undo-
interesting stuff.
Wait, yeah, let's go with this, right?
Try and be
And this is one of
TOS
the
friendly.
reasons why I
Guys,
have a
Jack,
problem. We can
use the
finish
M-
this
use the
up
M
real quick
word, so.
because I know Shai has been waiting to debate me on what
Shay,
I've
it's
said.
Shay. It's Shay.
Yeah, so for example,
That's
if
fine.
I unalive an animal, bring it back, and use a certain animal, like a tool, to let's just say carve up the animal, right, to feed our population, can we understand and acknowledge that it is very logical that this individual didn't actually hunt, but they might have cooked or prepared the animal differently?
Oh, I didn't mean to imply that the, women that were found with, this specific tool that I just described with this Achulian technology was only carrying one tool. They had a tool belt, a kit on them, as in like on them, on their person consistently. And
And
if
when
it
it-
is the case that we're finding both men and women consistently in groups together with the same toolkit, I think it's a pretty logical conclusion to say that they were basically they were both hunting. I don't understand where
I
your
wouldn't say
pushback
it's
would be on that.
logically- Yeah, I wouldn't say it's logically. You can presuppose when it comes to the situation. It wouldn't contradict itself and say, yeah, it's illogical that the men were hunting, bringing back the animals, and the women were preparing it. It would be using the same type of situation. And if a man got, let's just say, a tool lost, he could be able to say, hey, I need to borrow your tool, and not be able have to go make a whole new tool for it. It wouldn't make it illogical either. That's why I have a problem with the statements that are being proposed.
Sure. Would you also push back if there was like furthering evidence on, specific bone scarring, if there was further evidence on,
Bone scarring can
women?
be caused by multiple reasons. We
Yes, I
understand.
realize that it can be caused by multiple reasons, including scavenging afterwards. We are able to see whether it's a tooth mark or a mark from another spear. Like we're able to see these things pretty
Wait,
easy.
but if it is a mark from another tooth, for example, right? Animals, right? Even if we use bobcats for example, even if you unalive a bobcat, it still has a reactions where it can still bite down on you. Crocodiles do this all the time. Bobcats have done this too. This is why
I think
wouldn't-
crocodiles is a really good thing. Oh my god, I love that you're talking about crocodiles right now because that's one of the ones that don't necessarily scavenge, not even close to as often as like a giant short-faced hyena, for example.
Wait,
Right? A
but
giant
for-
short-faced hyena, if we see that kind of tooth mark on a bone, we're going to think, oh, they were scavenging beforehand. But if we're seeing that women and men were both, consistently going out and they were following each other and they were all nomadic, by the way, so there was no home base for them to go back to. I think it's interesting that you said that a little bit earlier. They
So let me
wouldn't have
just-
necessarily
Can I
been
interrupt
saying,
real
hey,
quick?
can
I'm
I
One
sorry,
second, one
but
second, hold on.
what you said
Hold on.
wasn't
Hold on. So Jack and Happy, right now, what's in contention? If I'm understanding,
Yeah, the
I don't-
contention is she's presupposing one aspect. I'm demonstrating that it's not illogical for it to be a different situation.
but
We
yeah,
don't know
we're
about-
inside a thread of a thread right now. The original thread, the overarching thread, was
Oh.
regarding was regarding men and women being equally capable of doing certain jobs.
Yeah, dialogue.
Dude, we're in a thread of a thread of a thread of a thread of
Yeah,
a thread.
but
This is why
where I'm following, because I don't have the AI summary when you scroll down, and so I.
If
So-
you just follow me, I can send you the resources because I want to engage with the other two. This has been
Oh, I
really
usually
good.
answer DMs.
Okay, this has been really good in dialogue. I haven't been bad faith. You haven't either. Like most feminists, they are typically bad faith. I would say you're one of the better feminists I've engaged with recently.
I think that in order for us to have a good conversation, it's very important that a lot of people don't react to the initial energy that we bring to the table as debaters. Like me personally, as a person who's been debating for a really long time, I try my best not to intimidate initially. I know that I'm supposed to because it's this big game where there's a winner and a loser at the very end, but I don't
Wait,
think
are you
it's
married,
productive.
Jack?
Yeah, I'm super married.
Is
I've been
your
married for 5 years
husband
now.
in the military?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Okay, so
He was.
you and I have had
Yeah.
a discussion before.
What branch was he in?
You've had,
He was 11. He was 11 Bravo. He was in
You've had a
Pittsburgh.
prompt.
Oh,
You've had
wait,
a prompt
what unit?
before. You've actually hosted
Um,
debates, have you not, Jack?
He was what unit? Yeah, I used to host debates. I was
Yeah, I would do
Adrian.
your voice.
Hilarious if me and him were in the same units because
He
I
was
was
in-
also in Bravo.
Cacti.
Cacti?
Yeah, Hawaii unit. He was in the Hawaii branch.
Yeah, so he was at Schofield?
Yeah, he was at Schofield. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, no, it's not called Quacktie, it's called Schofield.
Cacti unit. It was the
Yeah.
Cacti company or whatever.
Yeah, that would
Or
be
Bronco or
the
something.
company. Yeah, no. So I was with 8th Army, 2nd ID, and then 10th Mountain. I deployed to Iraq 2 different occasions.
Oh, how
But I
about
will
that?
send- I'll send you the resources I have for the arguments that I've been presenting.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, no, he was in the military. He actually just got out in October, which is really nice. His hair is very long. He's veteran maxing.
Yeah, I brought it up because I remember you saying that in a conversation we had, in a debate we had a
I'm in the
while back
reserves.
last year. So it's
pretty
just funny
cool.
that I recognize your voice because you used to host lives, similar,
did used to.
adjacent to feminist principles for sure.
Oh no, I am
Yeah.
still a feminist for sure. All right, well, I'll catch you guys later. Good
All
chat.
right, Jack,
Good luck.
thanks for coming up.
Yeah, so what do you have contentions with the argument I presented, Greenheart?
Greenheart, who's Greenheart?
Okay.
Shay.
Green.
Oh, Greenheart. Shay. All right, so
I want
Shay.
to back, I want to back all the way back up to where you were talking about the credit card debt and women owning businesses. Because I've literally pulled my father out of debt multiple times.
Yeah, so if we're talking about on average or at the same time unnecessary debt, women typically take this a lot more than men now. Do you disagree with the statement I presented to the other individual?
I do disagree because I have gotten my father out of $20,000 worth of credit card debt.
Yeah,
twice.
that's anecdotal, and at the same time, that's the
it's not-
minority.
So I actually did it. So did you do it or did I do it?
Wait, that's anecdotal. It's going to be based off an individual's experience. And when we say on average, women take unnecessary debt upon themselves a lot more than men. That's my statement I presented.
Okay, so I also own 3 businesses. I'm a managing partner in 3 different businesses.
So Shay, that
Okay.
can be true and that can be great. However, it doesn't disprove the general statement he's making. That's usually when you use anecdotes, it doesn't help to disprove the average claim that he's making. Does that make sense, Shay?
It's offensive to say
It's
that all
not
women do this
offensive.
because we don't.
Well,
But it's
all
not-
isn't the
All
statement
women
he's
are bad with
making.
their money.
Shay, he's making a statement on averages. So you could fall outside the average and that could be fine. Both those things could be true at the same time versus your experience and the claim he's making. Does that make sense to you, Shay?
It makes sense, but it still comes across very disrespectful of people that have actually had to do it, and I've had to do it.
Okay, so then track the statements I present. I said, generally speaking, right, women take unnecessary debt upon themselves. This isn't an all statement that you're assuming and proposing into my statement. This would be a straw man.
So I literally had to take control of my father's finances, give him an allowance to get him out of debt, not once, but twice. So the performance horse business that now belongs to me, that's literally how he's paying me back.
Okay,
He got
so
himself in a hole. So I literally own my father's farm
wait, Shay,
because of what he created. He created a
Okay.
problem. I had to go fix a problem. So not all women are stupid with their money. Not all women make
did I
bad
say all
financial
women are
decisions.
stupid?
I'm just trying to make my point because you come across so harshly to women, and there's plenty of women out there that manage businesses, we manage families, we pay taxes, we do all the things, and we do it quite well. So make sure that you're giving those people credit, and that doesn't make us feminists. That makes us people that have to manage money.
Well,
It
Shay,
makes
Shay,
us
I'm just
wives and
gonna here.
daughters.
I understand your where you're coming from, Shay. We're just gonna have to shut this down because we're not getting anywhere with this. This is how it works in debates, Shay. When we're having
You want to
discussions,
shut it down when a woman is actually successful.
yeah. So
you want
I'm gonna
to shut
explain
that
to you.
part
I'm gonna
down.
explain to you how I'm gonna shut it down and the reason why. The conversation isn't going anywhere if you're going to continue to assert your anecdotal experiences to disprove general statements.
I'm
If it
not the only
offends,
woman that's done this.
all right. So if it offends you, this isn't particularly a safe space for anybody, really. I don't really, I don't really like
So
tone
me
policing
making
on
a point
my
makes
panel
me
here.
sound offended.
No, I'm just
So it makes
explaining
you
right.
guys sound like weak men to me.
All right. Well, I can be weak. That's fine. And if you don't like it, then you can just get off the panel. Who cares? Like, you can leave. Why do you want to be around weak men? I'm weak. The dude right here with his avatar, he looks bigger than me. I'm pretty small. I mean,
It's
do you
not
like?
about that, but you guys want to be so disrespectful of women that have actually stepped in.
No,
and had to
you're
do
just being
things.
emotional, Shay. You're being emotional right now.
I'm not emotional
You
at
just
all. This is
you just
factual
explained that
knowledge.
you were offended, which is why you're interjecting.
I said it's offensive. That's what I said. It's
Are you
offensive.
okay?
If it's offensive, it means that you were offended by the offensive statement. That's the. But if you don't mind, Mr. James, is it okay if I engage for a second, sir?
Yeah.
And my name is Keith. I'm
Hello,
50
Keith.
years old, man, and good to meet you all.
Yeah, you as
and
well.
by no stretch of the imagination am I on the red pill.
Well, Keith,
or
hold
the
on a second, real
feminist side.
quick. Keith, hold on a second, real quick.
Yes, sir.
Because there's a lot of feedback going on in the back end. Well, yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm inside a rig, bro. So that's just the rig is running and it's hot out here, so I'm not able to turn it off right away.
Well,
So
the thing is,
if
it's
that's-
just
if you
it's a
don't want
lot
me to
of
talk,
there's a lot of feedback coming on. It doesn't seem to be happening right now. So if you can just manage that feedback, otherwise we're gonna have to cycle you out. But I think you're doing a good job managing the feedback right now, as far as audio reverb is going. So if you wanted to, here's what I'll do, because there is some feedback. Did you want to state your case real quick, and I'll let you do that briefly?
Is that better?
Yeah, no, I'm still some feedback, but just go ahead. If it becomes unmanageable, you know the deal. But if you want to
I
keep
do,
going,
but,
Goy Slop, thanks for the follow. You're up, Keith.
Not a problem. So I don't think that he was talking about when the other gentleman what he was saying that women don't manage things well. He wasn't talking about all women. He's saying that there's a higher percentage of individuals like so a guy is not gonna he's not going to be so frivolous with money. There's going to be more instances, and not that there are a lot of women that do this, but there are probably more women that are going to be more frivolous with finances than there are men. So it wasn't a statement that was derogatory towards you or any woman. There are lots of women that manage businesses and manage banks and manage finances, and they do it quite well, and they're CEOs and everything. I just don't know that he was being derogatory. I think he was simply stating what it is that's been noticed and it's been calculated as per statistics. That's what I'm thinking.
Yes, and when you're bringing it to anecdotal, right, there's going to be a general population. You do not fall into the general sense. And
However, you stated you were going to destroy me personally, and you simply can't do it. I can show you paperwork to prove that you can't do it.
Yeah, I can do this simply, right? Is it the case that women on average take unnecessary debt upon themselves?
Do you think I have the time to look into that when I'm managing an entire family estate?
I see. I run one business, I work a job, military, and at the same time, I take care of my family. So you're bringing this up. I run a business and everything. Okay, other individuals also run businesses. It does not matter.
It matters to your family.
Yeah, it matters to my family that I'm very educated and can lead them too.
Exactly. I have to do the same thing. The only difference is I'm a female and you're a male.
Okay, what's the problem there?
Because you said you were going to destroy me and you've yet to do that.
Yeah, destroy you in a debate. Yes, I understand that you can't read between the context lines. That's on me. I'll keep it simple for you, right? You're bringing this to emotional statements. At no point have I made emotional.
That's an emotion. You want to keep saying I'm emotional.
I said
telling
emotional
you that if we
statements,
sit
not
down
your
at a table, I'm very willing to sit down at a table with you. Let's go over the numbers and let's see. Because I work about a 60-hour work week in between these three businesses to make them all run. So I can outwork you any day of the week, or at least stand toe to toe with you any day of the week. And I can do it with my brain. I don't need to do it physically. I can do it by managing these businesses.
Can I come in? I
You know
just
what
want
our
to say something.
profit
Can I
margins
come
are?
in?
Oh my God.
Well, perhaps you allow
I'm
some
so
more
done with this.
feminine
I'm so
energy from
silly.
Nestia, Shay.
I don't even know, because it's not even about being a feminist. It's about taking care of your damn family.
It's not. We're not
Yeah,
talking
but
about. Okay.
yeah, but he's not talking about you. I don't think. But I wanted to bring back to because Happy, your point earlier was. I mean, for this point, I think to close, I'll say this because you laid out basically how you know, based on studies, you know, your women were like basically not doing well with their money, which kind of pivots back to where do those women come from? I mean, aren't those like basically? I mean, excuse me, just a second. They're your sisters, they're your aunt, your mothers, you know, your female relatives, basically. And then you're like kind of gleeing, saying, okay, well, look how badly they're doing, right? How exactly are you like in your society? Because as a society, you're not doing well. That's what it tells me as a, and I don't live in the U.S. Thankfully.
Nestia,
But
you're falling
how
for the
did-
trap,
how-
man. You're falling for the
Wait,
trap.
just a second. Like, how does that like reconcile though? That's what I'm like wanting to
Yeah,
ask.
so yeah, this is where I'm trying to help bring back the patriarchy and destroy feminism and destroy a lot more of the ideology from progressive bullshit. Single mother households have destroyed our society. A lot of European countries are also dealing with the problem and mass immigration, but that's a whole other situation. But when it comes to the single mother households, this is negatively affecting children and making people more emotional when it comes to this. We can demonstrate this based off of simple statements that I presented when it comes to the general, and then they're trying to straw man and say that I'm saying all women.
But how did you get there to begin with? How did you come to be in this situation where it's like this feminism, whatever it is that you want to blame, right? Rather than taking accountability, because all I see from the guy's side is zero accountability, right?
Oh no, I'm
Although
taking accountability that the
You're not.
patriarchy was too
no,
benevolent.
you're just shifting it to women.
Hold up a second. I'm taking accountability that the patriarchy was too benevolent when it came to feminism. We should have stomped it out at the initial roots of it.
Benevolent?
Yes.
Yeah.
You mean like they were greedy and they just wanted to profit off
No,
of that?
benevolent
You know what I-
meaning benevolent meaning we allowed too much. So I think that's a good one.
we
If I
allowed
didn't think
too
about
much.
that, if that's
I
the
don't think
ownership
they
I
were
gotta take.
benevolent because it was profitable for them, right? Why would anyone engage in something that isn't profitable?
How does it
for them?
profit me that a woman gets to lower down my wages? Please explain.
Well, you're looking at it from your perspective,
Well,
right?
you're talking
Like, if
about
you
us.
look-
You just
you
used the word
did,
you.
but excuse me, but this is what I was referring to was he said the benevolent men. Who were those benevolent men who allowed it? That was back then when feminism came to be, right? So I'm trying to understand how your society allowed this, right? Because I gotta say,
Because there isn't a patriarchy. Because we're not as oppressive as they're claiming we are. That's why.
Yeah.
But you just said once upon a time you were a patriarchy. You want to go back to that
The patriarchy
What
is
is
still
that?
here. It's still here. It's still alive and it's still alive and well. It's still sustaining the entire system. You benefit
I
from.
would say it's sustainable right now, but with progressives and other groups of individuals trying to attack it, it's under attack.
Yeah, it's
The
under
patriarchy-
attack, and it's definitely in question right now. Or it's
Yeah.
definitely on its heel for sure.
So the patriarchy has always been benevolent to women. We haven't forced women to go off to war. Majority of the situation.
Well, it would be useless. It's not benevolence. It's just a matter of using your head, right? So
Well,
you
we
can't
could
just
we
send-
could hate you more and make you do the things that we know you can't. That would be more. That would be less benevolent if we did
No,
that.
it's just that you have to be more logical, right? Those guys were logical. They wanted to first profit. That's why they let it happen, right? And second, you can't make women do something she just isn't physically capable of.
Yeah, and
That
if we
doesn't make
made her
sense.
do that, that would mean we would hate her, right?
No, that means
If we knew she was
perishes,
capable of
and you
not doing that
lose.
thing and we forced her to do it, that would
No,
be
she-
more hateful. That would be more hateful
No.
than not letting her to do that
You
thing.
it does happen. You could do that, right? But you would lose in the end, right?
Yeah,
You
it would be
lose out.
delusion. Why should we be delusional, and why should we allow our women to be delusional? It's because
Well-
the reason why we shouldn't do that is because we love them and we care about them. We're more benevolent
Well,
to them.
No, you're not benevolent. You want
Okay,
to
so
take
then
away
what is the
their
opposite?
right.
What is the opposite?
So
Because
what-
I don't want to
what
let
I
you do
was
the thing that I know you're not going to be capable of doing. Because I won't let you do that.
So the
I'm
thing is
less
that I'm
benevolent
going
than the
back to-
opposite.
I want to go back to this like the benevolent of the patriarch, right? So the patriarch is so benevolent, right?
Yes.
That you want to exclude women from the workforce. How is that benevolent?
Yeah, because we're not trying. Yeah, so this is going to be very simple, right? Women in their let's just say late early teens. This is typically going to be 18 all the way up until 36. This is going to be their most fruitful part of their life, where they can typically bear children with less outcomes, where it's going to be immediate danger for the individual, and at the same time, this isn't going to be as much wear and tear on them, making them work 12 to 16-hour days and putting them all right to war, where they're more likely to get SA'd in war, harmed a lot.
I'm not talking about war. The workforce.
Yeah, this is why I'm saying workforce too, because the military is also a workforce part of your society.
Yeah, so you wanted to bar them from the workforce. So what is so benevolent about that? Because you just said something selfish. You just said that's their, reproductive years. That basically, and basically it circles back to you wanting to basically screw these women and just get babies out of them.
Wait, how does this screw the women? This is actually going to let them be able to live a lot better.
No, I meant figuratively. Like I meant like you just want to actually.
I think you guys are on the same page. Screwing in this sense metaphor, you're on the same page.
I think there's a little bit of a problem in that. I don't think that you're taking into account the women's thriving, right? Again, I don't necessarily think that we have the same capabilities, but I think that if somebody displays a tendency or proclivity towards being able to do a thing, we should allow them to do that thing, but as it would benefit our society in total, right?
So then, Keith, as you're saying meritocracy, right?
No, not we. Yeah. I would absolutely say a meritocracy in most things, right? If you know something's going to be overall in the long term, it's going to be harmful because it supersedes your physical capabilities, then we should probably limit that because it breaks our society in the end. But for the most part, if they have the capability of doing something, let them do it.
Happy. So Keith, you're basically summarizing a meritocracy with a level of restriction on those qualifiers, and then Happy, what is your proposal as far as the organization?
When it comes to taking care of the population, one of the biggest factors is going to be birth rates. If it is the case that we're forcing women to go into these jobs and get a job under capitalism and get meat grind based off of feminism ideology, saying the capitalist mindset was a problem in of itself, then we should protect these valuable women by not putting them into the situation, into the meat grinder of the capitalist.
So what? Yeah, so should women? So real quick, let me just try and get the two positions identified to see if they're even different. So is your system based on merit with a gender restriction, or is it
straight up men are the only ones allowed to work? Women can't, unless if they want to do something at home, taking care of the kids. They can maybe work a part-time, but typically this wouldn't be like the general situation.
So we're taking away the thriving of people now, right? So if these women are thriving while they're doing it, we're saying that we're going to limit their thriving by taking away what it is that they enjoy the most, right? Some people like work, right? And you said taking away is better for them. What's better for them is it's not incumbent upon what you believe.
Wait, Keith, would you say it's the general sense when it comes to women wanting to work, or is it the case that they're required to work so they can survive?
I think most of them have a thing that they've engaged in, right? They found something that makes them happy, or something that they know that they're good at because they have a sense of purpose.
Wait a minute, how much women are we talking about? You talking about the same women who are baristas at Starbucks?
Yeah, because if we're talking about the general situation, most women were actually more happy before the 19th coming into place, where they were staying at home, being a stay-at-home mom, where they weren't required to work their bodies to unalive pretty much, and forcing them to do certain actions.
How about this, Abby? How about this, guys? Hold on. I think I might have a loophole that you guys can agree with, but you're not gonna like.
Talk to me, brother.
You just repeal the protections based off of discrimination on gender.
I would have no problem with.
All right. So can we get on that board, Keith? Can we get an agreement here? Can we get an I for that? Repealing the protections for. Hold on a second. We can do whatever we want. It's a democracy, right? So
you know what, James? The fact is, if you're going to say that you have the ability to engage in all the things that somebody else can engage in, I'm not going to give you any protections if you fail at it, you fail at it, and I'm not going to protect you from your failure. I will not. Right, so I would have to agree with you in that.
So we can get an I. We could all three get an I on repealing the protections for discrimination based on gender. Because I personally think it's fair to discriminate based on gender. To me.
I don't
Why?
think-
Why not skin color
Because
also?
we went over this before about maternity leave. Like, if I know you're about to be on
No,
your
no,
back
but
for
mater-
9 months,
no,
I
no,
ain't
no,
hiring
no,
your
no.
ass.
No. Forget that. Like, because the
What do
thing
you
is
mean?
that
That's
we
gender-based
agreed on-
discrimination.
Just a second. Okay, so
You and your
you
just a
said
second. I'm
because
gonna get a damn
what Jeff-
T-shirt for you. Go ahead, Nastia. Go ahead.
Okay, no, but we agreed. Okay, so that our agreement was like, okay, if you get like, and I used the real life example from the past. If you give
leave.
birth, that's a choice you made, right? You chose that. Okay, but you're saying now you took it too far. You're saying I'm going to discriminate you based on your gender. I don't care if you have kids or you're going to have kids. I don't care. I'm just going to, say like no protection for you because you're a woman. I don't care about you. Get out of here.
Well,
And I'm
Here,
saying, well,
this just means you eliminate the protection because back in the day, this kind of already had this cultural enforcement already. The companies were
Yeah.
already doing that.
Yeah, this was
exactly.
based off of the
It was,
Christian
and it was
doctrine.
deemed illegal now, right?
Okay, but it's
Right?
just by
So
fiat.
why-
It's just by fiat.
What do you mean?
Yeah, so
But
keep it
this was
simple. Right?
agreed
Should
upon.
a business be required to hire a pregnant woman that is 8 months pregnant and next week she's about to give birth and they're about to have to pay her for maternity leave? I would say no.
I would have to agree.
I'm sorry, guys. Can I step in for a second?
Yeah,
I'm-
because you sound like you might be triggered on what's going on today. You about to?
Yeah, of
All right, go
course I
ahead.
am.
Go
I'm
ahead,
a
ma'am.
woman, and what I find you guys saying
it's in
to
threat.
me,
You feel threatened.
I feel very threatened. I feel like it's incredibly dangerous conversation, and it feels very much like this narrative that you guys are talking about that's spreading across the country, and definitely a sweeping
All right, you
conversation.
get it. It gives
right?
we get it. It gives you the ick. All right, what's your counter argument?
Well, first of all, there are certain laws that are required for pregnancy. Like that statement that you just said, oh, if she's 8 months pregnant and I hire her, then she's going to go out on a maternity leave. That would absolutely not happen. A woman has to be already, there's rules. Like you have to have worked for the company for 11 months. You have to have already had, yes.
Depending
You
on the
have to
company.
have already had certain amount of hours on the job. Like it's not something where we just walk in and we can be pregnant and just take time off with paid leave, administrative leave. There's requirements.
there are certain enforced and permissible under the law. And I can understand that there may be individual company policies
No,
that
state
happen,
policies.
but so what? Why not just make those more indiscriminate?
I mean, they're very aggressive already. Like you can't, like in my
But
state.
it's only because they're in the confines of the law. I'm just saying if you remove the law, they'll be able to do more. Why shouldn't we do that?
But why are we basing it on biological processes, right? These are biological processes. We're saying that we're going to disallow things that are harmful to this lady because of biological processes.
Well, it's not inherent. It's not inherent. She's not biologically determined to have sex.
Yeah.
So that's not an inherent property. It's not immutable.
It would
but
be.
it is biological. But it is biological. I mean, and nothing but. Right.
But
So I
the
would
woman
say
can
that
work.
maybe there are limits
Okay.
to it. Maybe
Well-
there are limits to what we do. But
I mean, there are already limits, is what I'm trying to say. Like there are very strict limits that one don't protect you while you're off of the job. They don't have to keep your employment status, and then two, being financially like what do you call it, like the paid leave and stuff. There are also very strict laws for that. So in some cases, you might be able to take time off but not get paid for it.
Yeah,
You know, so that, again, those
but you
are
understand though
state by
that baked. Okay, I'm just looking up right here. If anybody wants to contend with this, I'm looking it up right here. In the United States, I just basically Googled it real quick. It says work for an employer with 50 or more employees within 75 miles have worked there for at least 12 months and have logged
Correct.
1,250 hours. Okay, well, that still
Yeah.
means I have to bake in nuclear bombs to her productivity for at least one kid, maybe two, maybe
Well,
three. 9 months she's going to be less productive, and I just have to suffer it, put her on ice. How is this expedient as opposed
Well,
to just
there-
not hiring her and hiring someone who's either not going to get pregnant, can give me some type of contractual agreement that if she does get pregnant, then she's out, or just hire a man who just can't breastfeed.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of companies who do exactly what you're talking about, where they prefer to hire men and they do hire men.
But they do it.
I'm in,
They do it
I'm
under
in
the
a-
table, and if they are found out, their company probably will get sued into oblivion. Correct?
it takes quite a bit in order for that to happen.
Yeah, but there's legal overhead. There's contractual
Correct.
drafting overhead that is just there to deal with women who just want free stuff. In this way, free protection.
Do you think that it's free protection?
Yeah, because you want to live two
Why?
lives. I want to be the woman who gets to have sex and get pregnant, and I want to be the man who doesn't have to do that and doesn't have to suffer the consequence from. That's trying to live a double life, and that's using the government to give you that free benefit.
I don't think that what you're talking about, leading a double life, is exactly the right
If
way
it's not
to
a double
put it,
life, what
because
is it? If it's not a double
Well,
life, what is it?
how do you have children if your wife is not having them?
I don't.
You
Because I
can't.
don't
You
exactly.
need women to have children,
Yeah,
right?
but
I can say it simply, when it comes to the situation, right, we understand the basic biology factor. Men can't get pregnant. For me, right, I go to work. Guess what my old lady does?
Stays at starts with a H.
Stays at fucking home.
Hey, Morpheus, thanks for the lightning.
Yeah, but how do you also monetize the staying home and then raising? Like you
You
can't.
specialize around the job that you do such that you can work more money because hold on a second. To a certain person as well who's retired their wife, they stay at home to specialize around your ability to provide, therefore giving you more performance at your job because you're taking care of less things so you can focus on
So prop up
doing
the
a
man.
thing.
Prop up
Well,
the man, basically.
yeah, we both prop up each other around our biological specialties. This is intuitive. It makes the most sense to do it this way, as opposed to using the government to make you live a double life, to help you get the free shit that you want. This is why.
Get rid of the government is what I'm saying. Because you're sucking the government, she's sucking the government, and that's the
Wait,
problem.
I don't need the government. Hold on a second. Who's sucking the government
is
more?
not-
Who's sucking the
that's not
government more? I only
sucking-
know.
That's not sucking things from the
Look,
government.
Let's talk about the government and fellatio real quick.
Do you know how many weeks? Hold on. Do you know how many weeks a woman gets off for birth?
Too much. How much? I don't know.
Like 6 weeks, 8 weeks.
So what? That is
it's
2 months
It's
of 40
nothing.
hours a week. That's money.
And you don't have to pay for that. Because
Okay, but
I
but how
pay
about
into
this?
that.
The aspiring Mexican dude who just got here, just got his citizenship, he can't afford to start the damn business because he has to pay for that bullshit.
Yeah, and on top of that, right, if we're talking about profitable, women actually have it profitable at home. You want to know why?
Wait a minute, Happy, you better not tell me how they're double dipping. You better not explain how they're double dipping. Please
Yeah,
don't.
wait, this is very simple, right? Men, wonderfully, right? Majority men, when it comes to fatherhood, they offer this one thing that's so fucking expensive, and you guys would be outrageous with how much it costs. How much do you think it costs for security 24/7?
Security? Is that a joke? Is this a joke?
Wait.
No,
Sorry, security for what? Sorry, I didn't get
Yeah, for an individual to offer up their life to protect the family when it comes to the situation.
What situation? Sorry, I'm not. I
What
missed it.
situation?
So, for example, if someone breaks into your house, right, security would be an individual that would be protecting their wife and their kid, right? Protecting all the way until their last breath.
I'm
You
in
know
my
how-
40s.
most
I
of
have
the
never had
dangers-
anybody
wait.
break into my house.
Here it comes.
Second kids
You know what,
and-
guys? I think I might from now on,
Most
guys, in the
danger
chat.
is coming.
In the chat, whenever people bring up anecdotes to disprove a general statement, I think I'm gonna need some money or some likes or
Yes,
some or
yeah,
some
let's
damn
drop.
some. I need a cowboy hat or something. Somebody get the likes up.
Let's do this on the panel. How many of you have had someone break into your house where you had to
Wait,
defend
and
your
hey,
family?
for everybody in the chat,
to
give
the-
me more
to
money
the
because she
second-
literally doubled down. She didn't catch the hint.
Oh gosh,
It's not
Second, let me
anecdotal.
just
It's not anecdotal. Let's say it's a peer
my
conversation, right?
We're talking
taking a
about average.
baseline study.
Yeah, if we're talking
Right
about
here.
average here, right, it doesn't matter about the average. It does happen. With it being the case, do you know how much on average the man sacrifices themselves when it comes to protecting their family, when it comes to security?
Well, then I should charge for giving birth because do you know how much
You already do.
You want to know what it is?
You
Stay
already
at
do.
I
home.
should charge you
Wait,
for giving birth then.
milady, you
Your
already
children.
do
That's
charge.
ridiculous.
You already do charge to give
Who
me
am I
birth.
charging?
You charge the man that you decide to be with a level of prerequisites that he must meet, otherwise payment in order to meet this contractual agreement, social or or covenantal in marriage. You already do that. But you
Security
just want
is
to
one
double
of them.
dip. You just want to
Well,
double
James,
dip.
That's
it's not that we
ridiculous.
give our lives, man. It's the fact that you signed the blank contract saying that you will in the instant that this
Yes.
thing, right? That's not that, like, you don't have, like, most veterans aren't celebrated because every veteran gives their life, right? That's not why they're celebrated. They're celebrated
what I
because
said.
they send a blank check to the nation and say, listen, if this comes about, I'm going to lay my life down on your behalf.
Wait, you mean to tell me
You
we're
want
not
praise.
you mean to tell me we're honoring the position, not just the activity, but the position itself? Interesting. That sounds like something we should do for fatherhood, especially the men who are going to be putting themselves up
Are
in
you
this
saying
way.
that you want praise for something that
No,
may
I'm
happen?
saying you ain't getting no damn maternity leave protected by the government, and you still haven't made a good case for this yet. Because
Yeah,
all you
you
said
may
to,
also get pregnant, so why the fuck should I protect you if someone steps in and beats the hell out of you? Oh, wait. Should
A lot
I?
of men don't. A
okay,
lot of
but
men don't.
all right, but hold
That
on now,
is
hold on
actually,
now.
generally speaking, is false. Most men actually step in. The bystander effect demonstrates that there's more females that would actually leave you out to dry than men.
Oof.
Do you know what the bystander effect is?
Let me just look it
What?
up. Hold on, that
Yeah,
sounds
but
like
okay.
crazy. Hold on,
What's
let's look it
wrong
up.
with
Time out. That's
Crazy.
new information. That is new content. The bystander
Yeah.
effect. Let's hear it.
Yeah.
Yes, the
University
bystander
of
effect is a situation that has been demonstrated. There was an individual, a woman in New York City, that was actively getting unalived. Other women,
Uh-huh.
on average, there would not step into the situation. Men actually had to step in at a later point once they actually saw it happening.
No, they didn't, and that's nuances. So the thing is, you're talking about Kitty, right?
Nope.
There was a from the '60s. No,
I'm not talking about Katie from the 60s. I'm talking about a situation that took place in early 2000s.
What was it? Which situation was it?
Yeah, there was a female in New York City and the Bronx that was actively getting S-aid. Other women there did not step in to help. It took men stepping in to be able to help
What
them.
was her name? Sorry, I didn't.
I don't remember the name of the individual. It was early 2000. I
I
can
mean,
get
I've
Okay, sure.
that's
But the thing
I've
is, like,
seen stories where there are men beating up women, and the only people that stepped in were women. I mean, we could sit here all day and say that.
That's a
We
fair.
don't
That's a
talk
fair
about the
point. We have to
minority.
go. We need to go. That is a fair point. We need to. We would have to
That's
compare
why we
study for
talk about
study
the
here.
general aspect. That's why we don't talk about the minority situation. On average, men step in a lot more. Even if you want to include police officers, men are police officers that step in and stop the situation. Women, on average, don't fucking do this.
Well, we're not
men
as
are,
wrong
police
as
are
you
getting
are.
paid. What? Okay,
Go
anyway.
to Cambridge University. They did the study on non-paid individuals that that perform heroic acts that are actually life-saving, right? That where they may perish in the act of saving lives. It is overwhelmingly men. I think it's like 74%. But it's the University of Cambridge that actually did the research.
Oxford also did this. This is why I said the bystander about the Bronx in New York in early 2000. This is why, when it comes to the situation, women get this wonderful thing called free fucking security in generally, right? Where men typically have no problem with sacrificing themselves for their kid, their wife, offering this wonderful thing that, guess how much it costs on average? Over
but,
$500,000 just to get security that would sacrifice themselves. And that wouldn't be the exact amount, because there's individuals that pay millions of dollars and they wouldn't still sacrifice.
But
I
do
have
you
a quick
think,
question
do you
regarding
think
that.
that
Just
women
kissing. Wait,
don't
wait, wait.
also?
Can you just wait a second? I have a question for those married men who actually their husbands are sacrificing themselves. I would agree with you. Yeah, men often do that. But how compare the numbers, right? Who do you say, like, who unalives their children and spouse compared to the actual that woman being unalived by some outsider, like coming
Yeah,
in?
women unalive their children a lot more than men.
No, I
You wanna
didn't
know
say
why?
that. I
No.
said compare that man, the
I
husband, to
disagree.
the outside man.
I
And
think
Yeah.
you could Google
Women
that
do.
one.
So okay, so do fathers overwhelmingly unalive their own families, or is it that outside men are coming in and unaliving these? Yeah,
outside
Dream
factors
on,
on
buddy.
the
It's overwhelmingly
Incorrect.
men are unaliving, and oh my god. I mean, I get it. Listen, like this
Hold
is
on
like
a second. Let's look
Hold
into
up, let me
let's
say
let's
something.
let's engage with that
Wait.
data here.
Wait, let me say something real quick about what you just said, though. If we're talking about who unalives more children, right, men or women,
no, no,
hold
we're
up,
not talking about
hold
that.
up.
Though.
Because the statement that you presented was only men. Why didn't you include women? Because if we're
No,
using
but you
women
said
too,
outside
hold up.
dangerous.
Yeah,
Right?
outside dangerous. Women also
versus-
unalive
and the
other.
men. So go ahead.
Yeah, women unalive other women's kids all the fucking time. You want to know what this is called?
I'm not disputing that, right? The thing
ABs,
is,
this is a higher percentage than fucking anything.
Than anything. Let's be real.
no.
I mean,
I'm
to,
gonna
we
use the
would
numbers.
agree. We would agree
I
that that's
got
true.
you.
Go on. Let's get back to the data.
I'm
Let's get
gonna
back.
use the
Let's get
numbers.
back to the data. Okay, we're gonna get to the data, but you
Thank
don't
you.
the statistics and regarding security. Okay, because right now what was
Yeah.
in contention was whether or not men or women are the ones unaliving their own kids more often. So
No, so that's not it. So my
so then
whole
what
point
was your
is
question then?
the question was because he was talking about outside threat, right? So
Yes.
how many, like, just if you look at the numbers, right? The husband unaliving his own family, whether it be the wife, the kids, all that. Compare that to the actual threat from outside, like a random person breaking into the house and unaliving.
Oh,
More
that's
likely
Just a
interesting.
second, let me finish. So, which would you say is higher? Is the husband?
Outside. We can demonstrate this based off of multiple statistics. You want me to?
Go ahead.
So first statistics that we're going to have to demonstrate is going to be when it comes to an individual unaliving their family. When it came to 2024, can you guess how many males unalive their family?
Oh, they're intimate, partners, right? So,
Intimate partners and their kids, because you also brought kids into the situation. Unless if you want to rephrase your statement.
sure. Okay. So, from what I have here, first, right, 70 to 80% of homicides, right, they're females in your country, by the way. And for
That's not actually the case. If we're using the FBI table when it comes to crime statistics, it's more of men getting unalived. In 2024 and 2025, it was lower females getting unalived than males because
do you
typically
want to
this.
pull your numbers up? Like, then
I got you.
Just pull.
Host, invite me back up in a second. Let me go grab the information.
All
It's
right.
going to be table 43 in the FBI database. That's going to tell you which one that is, and it by far in 2024. That was
I'm
Happy.
looking at CDC.
Happy. All right.
Okay,
you want me
while
to? You want me to
while you
end
guys
or
look
disconnect
that
you?
up,
Happy,
I
come
have
back
a
up when you got
question.
that. When you got that.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What do you guys propose? Let's say you had it your way and I could no longer work, right? You took away my rights to work. And I don't know if I get a bank account or if I'm able to drive, hopefully.
Mhm.
But let's say that's the case. How am I supposed to support myself?
All right. So this is an extension from a conversation me and Mestia had. But I was just explaining that if you repealed a lot of the protections, things would fall back into their cultural enforcement. Men who run companies would be more suspicious of women, particularly younger women. And the more fertile she is or acting, they're probably going to be less likely to hire her. When women become pregnant, they'll probably just give them their papers. But if they're not pregnant and if they're just chilling, working, I mean, it's just going to be presumed that they're not wanting to have kids right now, or they don't want to ever. So,
But you made a statement earlier saying that you guys should not allow women to work at all.
well,
So
that
if
would
I
be
couldn't work at all,
that would be Happy's position. Mine's deviates a bit. I wouldn't bar anyone. I wouldn't particularly bar women from working because I know like women probably gotta put some food in their tummy and clothes on their back. So if they
What?
want to
You
do
changed?
that, then I mean they're gonna need to work to do that. Because I don't see any other scenario. But here's the thing: once you get a husband, once you get somebody that's can provide for you.
what if he can, or what if
Well,
he dies, or what if he leaves? I mean, there's no protection there.
Yeah, so I actually got two different sources to demonstrate that men are more likely to get unalived in homicides than women when it comes to this. You can use the United Nations when it comes to using multiple countries. It was demonstrated in crime that men are more likely to get unalived in homicides. Women are more likely to get SA'd versus, right, homicides in numbers, 81% to 64%. And even if you want to go with, women are 64% more likely
We're
to get
happy. We're talking about intimate relationship.
Yeah, hold up. Intimate relationship. Let's go with the situation too. When it comes to intimate, in some type of relationship, right? These individuals that do get unalived by their partners, it is smaller, right? Because most individuals, women to be very precise, get unalived by more of their family members, not even their partners.
That
it says
chart
the
just
intimate
proved your point.
family-related homicide, 64% for
Yeah,
the
wait,
women.
family-related homicide. So when we break it down, it's more likely that your family member's going to unalive you, and that could also be another fucking woman. It doesn't have to be your husband to do that action.
Well, can you
But
break
it says
down?
82%
But it says
intimate
intimate
partner
partner homicide. That's even higher, 82%. What's up with that?
versus
82%.
19% in a general outside
let's go with this.
homicide.
You guys know how
Wait, what-
percentages
All
break
right,
down
but
to,
before you
first
answer
of
that
all?
question, Happy, let me
Wait,
just let me
wait.
hold on. Order in the court.
Yep.
I'm just gonna answer some or post out some people in the chat here. Someone on the YouTube side, AZ says you can work. There's lots of laundry to be done and sandwiches to be made. Oh, that's the work they're going to be doing. Perhaps that answers the lady's question here. Single woman can work. Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Maybe Happy can convince me otherwise. Unfortunately, women disproportionately choose and reward these guys. Which guys, Isaac?
Kind of.
Guys that shouldn't be fathers. Yeah, so when it comes to breaking down percentages, you guys know how it works.
Can you bring it up, please? Like,
Yeah.
I'm asking, like, just.
Yeah.
so
So do you know how percentages actually break down when it comes to the situation?
Okay, so the last one, it's kind of blurred.
Yeah.
It's blurred.
You're gonna need to expand. You did something where it fit it to the screen. There you go.
Yeah. So, okay, are you saying that 82% is actually lower? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So the 82%, when we talk about the situation, right, when it comes to breaking down crimes, we can demonstrate this. It's the percentage of the action. This is why it says 64%
What action,
of it.
though? What action, though? Sorry.
Yeah. So this is why I'm trying to finish my statement. When it comes to so when it comes to the 64% versus the 84% of males versus women, out of the women that unalive, it's only 84% of the situation. It wouldn't be the extreme number that you were bringing up. It's more likely for women. No, it's actually the case that men, based off of your statement, unless if you want to propose a different statement, are more likely to get unalived in homicide versus women.
Homicide from what? Like, who's unaliving them? That's what we're like.
It's
having the
probably
contention
other
on.
men.
Just
Yeah, but
random
other
guys.
men.
Yeah,
Yes.
but it's not in contention
but
of men
that's
at
what-
large.
that's
Hold
just-
on, it's what's not in contention, Misty, is men at large. It's the men that you're with.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, though. We are
That's,
on the
you
same
guys just
page.
proved your point.
Intimate, yeah. So
What,
that's
gay
what
men?
I'm.
Gay men?
No.
Intimate with other men being intimate with other men?
No,
No,
but the
you
thing
just
is,
proved your point.
yeah, but
No,
I don't think they want to like. They want to. So the thing is, like,
her
when you look
point-
at like in a relationship,
Yeah, so if we're talking about the homicide situation, right? If someone's breaking into your house, do you think your man's gonna probably do some type of harm
yeah,
to
but we're
that
not talking
individual?
about that.
No, I don't.
we
I
have to
don't have a
engage.
man,
We have
so
to
there's
engage.
nobody
Here's
to
the
do
thing,
that.
guys. You can look
So
at the
that's one
stats at their raw form, but you also have to engage in the logic surrounding it. So just allow a level of questioning from Happy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So when it comes to the situation, first you propose what is going to be the case. Is it the case that men harm their partners at a higher percentage, or is it the case that men get harmed at a higher percentage? I demonstrated men get harmed at a higher percentage than women first. Second, when it comes to people breaking into your house,
I agree with
yes.
that.
Yes, when it comes to someone breaking into your house, is it not logically possible that your man does some type of damage to the individual where it makes it easier for them to be able to fight back then?
Yeah, but I'm not disagreeing with you on
Okay.
that. Happy. So
Okay.
my point was, and I think you're kind of backtracking, is the thing is like when you compare a single woman living all alone, right, compared to like a partnered woman, right, like she has a boyfriend or like let's say a husband, right?
Okay.
My point to you was that when you compare those two women first, right, that woman who's partnered is far more likely to experience violence than the unpartnered women. And wait, just a second, please let me finish. And where it's coming from for the partnered women, it's coming from her partner more often than not. Not 100%, but more likely than not. And I'm not saying all men are dangerous or anything. I don't want that rhetoric, right? But the thing is, and it's just I'm looking just by you like what your country, whatever they put out.
Yeah, so just go with the 61% than the 81%. When it comes to the situation, first it would be 61 of the crime rates that happened to women was by family members or relationships. Out of that, it was 81% based off their relationships. And then when we look at the numbers, how many women got unalived in 2025 based off of this?
Sorry, again, please, I
The
apologize.
comments are crazy.
The comment took me like just. But
Did you hear the statement I presented, or do I have to rephrase it?
I apologize. I apologize, please. Again, like the last
Okay.
thing you said.
So 61% of the situations that happened last year was by a family member or a relationship. Out of that, it was 81% of that. How many women got unalived last year based off of their partners?
How many, like in total?
Yeah, in total.
It better not be less than 10,000.
No. Please bring up that he had that thing up because I want to look at it again.
Well, do you know this? What's the number, Happy?
It is actually under 10,000.
Oh my gosh. So it's just women
So wait,
complaining again.
for the year. Sorry, I just want to. Sorry, that's for like women who are with their partners, right? Like unalived by their partners, right?
Yep.
Intimate partner, and you're saying that it comes down to per year.
Yeah. Yeah, so even for the global situation of women, it's 1 out of
No, no,
100,000 population.
Oh,
No, just the
globally?
states.
So that stands to reason
I doubt.
in the states, the United States, it would likely be less, right?
Yeah, even in the United States, it would actually be higher. It would
It's
be
higher?
lower when it comes to the Yeah,
So-
so it'd be higher. It'd be 1 out of like 200,000. I can go get the exact number.
So you mean higher, as in higher?
Yeah,
Improbability.
where it's highly unlikely. Yeah.
Okay, well then, yeah, this whole intimate partner violence, I've seen these feminists try and throw that stupid study. When you look at the study, the way that they look at violence, it's so overarching. It's almost laughable how they use the methodology and the terms.
That's why you need to use the bell curve when it comes to the situation. And when it comes to people saying, oh, well, it's more likely that the individual is unalived by their partner. It's 1 in,
Yeah, but if you-
globally,
Mhm.
globally, it's 1 in 100,000. Would you say that that's very common?
Yeah, but the thing is, no, I mean, like that's not even that high. But what I'm saying is, when you compare to a woman like that's just single, that's just not with any man, right? Who's more likely to be unalived if it were to
Men.
like just look? No, I'm not saying by their partner. I'm talking about like,
Unalived is men.
So
By
unalived by
who?
their
Who's
partner, or
unalived?
just unalived by their partner, or unalived by just?
no, but he's conflating a lot of things. Okay, so I agree with you, Happy, that globally, right, men are unalived at a significantly higher rate, right, than women on average by other men. I agree. So don't even bring that up. Like we're not talking about that. I'm talking about intimate.
You ask who is more likely to get unalived. Is it men or women?
That's
Don't
not-
state that statement.
No.
Rephrase.
That's not. Sorry, I'm not gonna let you get away from this. I was talking about the intimate partners, and I said specifically, I said women that's partnered, like that's with a husband, for example, and women that's completely single, that's not, doesn't have any, who's completely single, not with any man, right? No boyfriend, nothing, right? And you even
Okay.
with your numbers, you proved it. It's when it does happen, it is to be by an intimate partner.
Okay, but can I say something? The thing is, you're asking a question. If someone that is less surrounded by the opposite sex, do they have a less likely chance? Of course, because they're not constantly surrounded by somebody.
So the number one
at a
danger
24/7.
for a woman
But
is
just
to have
one
intimate
second.
partner.
Just
The
one
number
second.
one
I'm actually
danger? No,
curious.
that's a freaking leap right there.
I'm genuinely curious if sorry to interrupt, but I'm curious in regards to the like two married couple or two people in a couple. In regards to the kids, who has a higher statistic towards violence towards their kids?
I would bet it's
Usually
women.
women. I would say women.
Probably because
Okay,
they
do you
interact
underst-
more, and probably because it's
Yeah.
more acceptable.
And
Yeah.
that's why when it comes to the bell curve, this is why I was talking. It's actually very small when it actually happens. A lot
Yeah,
of
but
people take the statements that you presented and say, well, it's more likely. No. Would you say that, how many people have you interacted with in your life?
King Xenos, thanks for the follow or the heart. How many people have
Mestia.
you interacted with in your life, Mestia?
I wouldn't know. Like, what the heck? How would I like? I don't keep a count.
Would you say
But the
it's more
point
than
is, yeah,
100,000
so, okay, what is-
people?
what is-
Wait,
okay.
hold up. Would you say it's more than 100,000 people?
I don't think so.
Okay, so when it comes to the situation, do you know how outrageous and how long it's going to take for you to meet 100,000 fucking people?
Okay, how does this correlate to?
Yeah, so when it comes to the
correcting that I made
yeah,
the
got
correct
you.
assertion.
Yeah, I got you. The assertion that you are making, well, it's more common. It's a completely a percentage of a percentage What is
Yeah,
to
I
be
agree. Okay, let me agree with your percentage over percentage over percentage over percentage, let's say. It still is the case that that man, right? And
that wouldn't be common then.
you just said, dude, you just
All
proved
right,
it.
so then
wouldn't be
how can we
common.
work? Can we agree, Happy MST, on this? In the percentage, where there is intimate partner violence, if it is the case that it is small of a percentage, can we agree that it's more likely the case that the violence is going to go, women are going to experience more of that violence than the men, or
Yes,
can you
unalivement. So when it, yes.
so that's the statement you're making. What do you think about that, Happy?
I wouldn't say it was common. That's the problem
Well,
with how she's
common
phrasing it.
is you can bite the bullet and say it's, or we don't.
No, just
No, you don't need to
how
bite the
she
bullet. What I'm
phrases the
explaining is,
statement.
I understand how it's framed, and I do take issue with it, but just to technically move forward, because we're just straight.
When it does happen, only when it does happen, not like that it's like happening at a disgusting rate.
Ms. Tia, can you agree that it's a percentage of a percentage then?
Yeah, like it's
All
not
right,
like
so
I'm
then
not
let's
saying
let's
that
move
it's
forward here, because right now what was in
The
contention
problem
is
that I was
what?
having with you was how you were phrasing it. So when it comes to a statement that you're presenting, if I'm going to agree with it, someone can be able to use it on me at a later point. When it comes to a debate, we have to be precise with our words. This is why I've been very precise since the beginning of the statements I've been presenting.
Yeah, but okay, again, so I'm not saying, like, I'm not even disputing, the rate of violence that occurs to women. That's not even the issue. It's just that we're comparing two things. And why we got here was you were saying the man is basically the security, right? Like, and
Yeah, and
my
that could
point,
still be
my
the case,
contention
Mestia.
was like, that could be, I agree with you, James. That could be definitely the case. But it's also oftentimes, it's like a two-edged,
Well, you're
sword,
saying
right?
often, and what do you mean by this often? Because what's
wouldn't
implied
be
is how you
generally.
framed it.
So,
Often,
well,
what?
it
So we
is
don't
the
need
case that same
security
woman.
if it wasn't for you. You guys
If
are
it wasn't
the
for you
problem.
men with
You're the
Yeah, but you're the
problem
solution
and
and the
the
problem.
solution.
You're the solution and the
Okay,
problem.
well, hold on a
basically.
second.
That's
Hold on a
exactly
second.
what
If you
they're
have like a
saying.
little scab on your body, is that like a problem compared to like a gaping hole? What's more of a
Have you
problem?
ever heard?
Oh,
have you
The
no,
ever
that's
gaping
heard
hole
not
would be
fair.
more of a problem. So when we're talking about this small amount of a percentage
No,
of
they're not
occurrences, that
small
would sounds like a
percentages.
scab to me on the global
Yeah, the scab that could actually shorten your neck. Like,
Have
come
you?
on. Like,
Yeah,
Hold on.
well,
Have you ever heard the
bruh,
saying?
this is how
In
you
every
guys
house,
this is how you guys
in
prove
every
that you can't really
no.
engage like in good faith on the stats alone, because you're going to use it to frame the conversation later. So I feel like I'm taking an L by trying to bridge a gap.
No, don't. Okay, so the thing is, even I did, listen, I'll tell you something, James. I went up on this feminist live, and I remember we vehemently fought about that because they were saying ridiculous numbers of women are unalived per year. I'm like, no way, that is absolutely not the case. They got it from the UN apparently. I'm like, this, no way, like, I'm gonna believe that. And they were like, a ridiculous number of women are unalived every year, every month in the US. Again, I don't agree with that. It's the numbers are exaggerated.
That's something
Okay,
wrong with.
so, and it's not looking at the nuance. However, right, my simple point is the safest place is for a woman is like if they are single, right? But if they're also okay, I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna shut up.
She's single. She's basically
Can I
on.
add a
She's
point?
online. She's not really. She ain't got no prospects. She don't want to. She's basically a shut-in. The safest woman is a shut-in.
yeah.
No.
If you're
Congratulations.
I'm not that way, but what
Hey,
I'm saying
can I,
is,
hey, Mystia,
no.
can I make a point?
sorry,
I'll
sorry.
agree with that. I'll
Hey,
agree with that.
Miss-
Well, yeah. Well, you guys
If
get
you-
some
if you're
damn buy a
single
dog and
and-
die
Yeah,
alone.
just
Get
don't-
some damn cats.
If
Wait,
you're
what
not
is the
dating,
cats
yes,
for?
but
You
do you,
too.
All right, King.
What is
King, go
it
ahead. Hold on a
they
second.
They said when you have a pool, you're more likely to drown.
Yeah,
That's
it's like, come
exactly what
on,
it
like, what
is.
the hell, like.
That's the
That's-
point.
But
If
it's
you've
but
got
that's
a man in
called
your
code.
house,
No, it's a
the
fact.
moment
women-
I let a man into my house, the more likely I am to be beaten
Oh my gosh!
or
But by
or
what
killed by him.
percentage? By what percentage?
I don't know.
I don't
because
know.
it
I don't care because I
Also-
don't need no King.
It could
King.
happen.
King.
for
Go
both
ahead.
of you, do you know that like for married women are way less likely to be SA'd than unmarried women, right? So this idea too that like you're just danger. Yeah, you just look at the idea of murder, right? But when you start looking at all crimes, right, it is not quite as easy, right? So like it is now but obviously you could make a statement of any recluse, man or woman, right, who decides to live in an apartment and just order Amazon and to deliver to them and had no human interactions would probably have the least amount of crime in general. right? So the idea of isolating yourself, right, and using that as a statistical goal of, yes, that's the optimal life. If I have no interactions with other people, then yes, I could optimize crime reduction.
Yeah, have you
But
guys ever
who's
seen Bubble
saying
Boy?
those women, like that's like the single women, like
Yeah,
who are
put me
not
in big
married.
box real quick so I can demonstrate how
I-
small this actually is.
James,
I'm not
I actually
disputing
love
that,
that
how
movie.
small it is. I'm
Right.
not
So you guys are going to be Bubble Girls?
2024,
I love
FBI
Bubble Boy.
reports, right? There was 3,538 victims who were murdered who identify as female.
Sorry, I can't see the. Wait, sorry. Yeah, I can see. Yes, I see it. Thank you.
All right, so this
Okay.
is
That's
a
a
small
total.
percentage in the grand
So
scheme of
that's
things
like
of all
total-
the interactions that happen, and we're talking about
Sorry,
from
that is the schmurder, like total schmurders.
So men, it probably
Or
like
just intimate-
in a year, probably just like in a year or something, right?
Yeah, in the year.
Yeah.
1 year.
But is that like as a total or just with intimate partner? What was that?
well, if it's a
That
total,
was
it's even
the whole
more. It's
situation.
even, it works even worse.
Yeah.
It's,
So out
it's
of
even worse
350
case.
million people, that's
So
total.
basically,
Total.
men
No,
should
no, no.
be
I'm
more
asking
afraid of
who
each
are
other.
those? I'm asking who is
Yeah.
like who those 3,000 that were unalive. Who unalived them? Is it just random people, their own intimate partner? Who is it? What like general?
Yeah, so out of that, we would be able to use the percentages that I demonstrated earlier. It would be 60% of that would be off of intimate or immediate family members. And then out of that 60%, it would be 80%.
80% of the women affected.
so
Yeah, so it'd
so
be-
part.
It would go from like this, ready?
So
When we
it's
use
higher
statistics-
when they're partners, like basically women
Right,
are.
so
compared to-
when it comes to percentages, right? We get the overall number, then we split that into 60%. So 60% of 3,551. Who has a calculator, real quick?
I'll do it. 60%. What
Thank
was
you.
the what was the
That's
big
how it
number?
works.
What was the
Yeah,
big number?
3,551.
Times 60%, right?
Divide by 60%, so we can get
Yeah,
the.
so it would be
percentage.
2130.6.
Then
And
do
by the way,
80%.
I just looked at they said 15 to 1,700 per year, based off of last year.
Yeah, and get the
So
percentage
out
of
of
that.
out of the 3,000, out of the big number, we get 1,704.48.
Yeah. So 17,
Yeah,
and
that are
that is
killed by their intimate partners.
Yeah,
right?
wait, that's estimated because there's been multiple cases that have also overturned where the partner was automatically accused too. So even if we want to use the rough estimate of numbers here, out of the 3,500, that ain't shit.
Yeah.
it's more-
Okay. But happy. Okay, I have like 1,500 to 2,000 roughly by their intimate partner each year. Yeah, unalive, right? So yeah, okay, we agree roughly. So if you compare that to women being unalived, let's say by just random dude, you would say that is significantly lower.
I would
compared with-
disagree. ABs.
Well, hold on a second.
what?
Tet might be
What?
spitting some
What
wisdom
does
here.
that have to
'Cause-
do with anything?
all right, well let's try and ring the conversation back because Tet seems to be on the patriarchy side. It's
No, I
not
don't
marriage.
believe
It's the problem is the people. It's not the institution itself, right?
Yeah, I believe that, like, I don't. Okay, for example, oh, can anyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You're currently
Alright,
currently
it's 'cause,
laying
like,
on
you
your
know,
on
the
your side.
audio
That's what it
isn't,
sounds
like-
like.
Okay, yeah, just I don't think like right now. Okay, someone's said that I think women who are in marriages, no women who aren't married get essayed more than women who are married.
That was King Xenos,
Um,
yes.
That's true.
I don't actually do research and whatnot. Then it just kind of sounds like marriage isn't like the problem. Just sounds like the people who are essaying, because we don't know if it's men or women are the real issue. And
Yeah,
whatnot.
we probably intuitively know that it's likely men who are doing the victimizing to women. But the thing is, where this originally came from was this protection that was really contended with. Are men actually giving protection in marriage? I would argue yes.
Yes.
King. Okay,
Yes
so,
and no, but
but-
sorry, go ahead.
but here's the thing.
I mean,
there is a
I will
protection,
agree.
and just because an instance doesn't occur, you guys are not considering that there's a deterrent. It's a passive security as well. Men, by their very presence, are the reason why you don't get snatched up at the grocery store or somebody putting something in you, trying to make you smell something in the parking lot. The men who are around
I
you.
will
Yeah.
agree with that. I will agree
And for
with that.
women who still want intimacy with men, right? So I mean, it's one. If you decide to be like unmarried and recluse and not date, that's one thing. But if you decide to date random men, right, who
Yeah,
you don't marry, now you really incur, right, a higher risk, right? Because now you have a whole
100%.
association of men, which is why the SA rates for single women go sky
Wait,
high
wait.
compared to married
Yeah, I
women.
agree 100%. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't matter if it's a boyfriend, girlfriend, or all. If you tally it up, it's quite bad. Like, and it's just there's no dicing it basically.
What do you mean bad? We're talking
Well,
about
something really
we were talking about
interesting, James.
comparing that percentage to the amount of all the interactions that happen with men and women. It's insignificant. Men and women getting together, dating, going on coffee dates, bumping uglies, being in situationships, committed relationships. This would be in the millions at this point. It would be literally in the millions. So when you're talking about millions versus either 1,700 or 3,000, that is completely minuscule, and it's not enough for these damn feminists to cry wolf about at this point.
Well, James, I found something about relationships and the most violent relationships, and you won't believe who the CDC said.
Starts with a letter.
I never thought that like more people are attacked, and it's almost double the
It's
other
catfight.
relationships combined. I just unbelievable. So if you're talking about people that are violent, right?
But how much
it's
unalivement
overwhelming.
though? How much unalivement, Keith?
Yeah, but
Well,
Mystia, based
we
off of
know
your
that the
logic,
stronger
wait,
creature is
we
going to
should not
commit.
have two women
Just
left
a
in the
second.
room alone together,
Just a
right?
second.
Because
So
they're the
how much,
most likely
Keith,
to hurt each other.
Keith,
Yes, ma'am.
what is the unalivement rate between like the L community, right? What does it say that?
So it's about 80. So again, because men are stronger and there's a strength differential, right?
So
It's
significantly
80-20,
less.
Yeah,
right?
because they can't do it if they wanted to. They're not strong enough.
They can't do
That's
it.
not. That's
They
not
can
a.
do it.
That's not a.
They attack
They
each
can pour
other with
something
the
into their
intent.
drink.
Mystia,
They attack
should
each
we
other
not
with the
leave women
intent.
alone with
It's just
children
not
then?
successful.
Because women are like much more likely to have DV against a child than a man is, right? So using your logic, right? Does that mean now the most unsafe situation for a child is to be around a woman?
Yeah, because
Right? So
No,
we should
it would be
avoid that.
Yeah, because
insignificant.
even though it's a small percentage,
Yep.
it still stands to reason that the
Yeah.
child is going to be more of a victim.
There you go.
So by your own logic, you would have to see to that, Mestia.
Yeah. So
Well,
in that
I mean,
case,
if it-
children
yeah, but
should
it's
never
likely
be
to
left
be-
alone
yeah,
with
so
a woman.
But
Is
by
that just
probability,
because of
it's likely
proximity?
Oh my God.
Well,
It's
it's
likely to be a
proximity
woman
stands to
because the
reason.
proximity. Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
it
no,
stands
now
to
you're
reason
trying
the
to
same in the
explain the
argument you're making.
statistics.
And
Now
that's
you're
so
trying to
what?
explain
not-
why.
like,
No,
I'm
no,
not
no. We're just
disputing
going with
that.
the macro stats. Right,
Yeah.
and the macro stats say that it's more likely that a woman. So the women are the problem to children. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go with your solution that women should just be isolated from children for children's safety.
Don't even bring children into this world.
Oh,
what I
don't let her
always say.
spread her gospel,
Suffer-
man.
Yeah,
Don't let her
like
spread
that.
the good news
I
of
don't.
anti.
Thank you so much.
Basically,
Mystia's
it's
solution
basically
is
the-
nobody
No,
should ever
it's
interact
basically
with
the
another
pool
person
situation all
ever.
over again, right?
You just conceded. Okay, you just conceded.
No,
Thank
Missy,
you.
Missy, I am agreeing with your logic, right? If your goal is to make sure to have the least amount of crime or harm, then you should never have children. You should never meet with anybody, right? Stay in your
No.
apartment, isolated, all alone, right? Have food delivered to you. And of course, you're going to maximize,
No,
right?
don't even deliver food
the-
because they could poison it.
Oh my
You're good-
God,
Gotta
this is
think ahead.
reclusive. Like this is reclusive. What's
Yeah.
the point?
No, I'm not saying that, but that's not even what I'm saying. So what I'm saying, like,
It is
I agree with your
valid.
logic. Like, okay, by your conclusion, 100%, right? I agree.
W.
But then,
W.
don't like what I'm saying is, why are you having kids, with women? Who
Because
are, like, you're-
because what you're doing is you're trying to bring people's risk tolerance to such a low
Yep.
risk tolerance that they're not even going to interact with human beings. I'm not going to
No,
shake hands with
Mystia,
someone
do
because
you
they
drive
might
a
have
car?
that is
sneezed
just
on it. I'm
not-
not going to.
Miss-
I'm not going
I
to.
think you-
yeah, but you could.
Yeah. Mystia, do you drive a
But
car?
But wait, James.
Mystia, do you
But
drive
what
a
I'm
car?
just a second. So what I'm saying is, like, just look at the reality. And even when I talk about like a divorce rate, like when I bring that up, I'm just saying keep that in mind, right? When you young people are rushing to marriage, like just don't look at everything with a color code, like a prism of
Yeah,
glasses.
But everything becomes to a
Look at
point where
things-
it's not expedient. That's like saying, "Hey, don't get on the road," as King was alluding to.
Yeah.
You're expanded. As King was
If
alluding
your
to,
goal is
don't get on
risk
the road
mitigation-
because there might be someone who's texting and driving and they're going to hit you. It's like We don't.
Or
we have society that we have to
So never
account
get on a
for.
plane.
Sorry, what are you
never
showing?
get in
So
a
what-
car.
No, no, this is the same thing. I was just raising my hand. By any chance, do you talk to your
okay.
father and mom?
Sorry, what you were saying? Happy? I
Yeah, do you
didn't.
talk to any of your family members?
Duh. Why?
Oh,
No.
whoa, you shouldn't do that because there's a high chance of you getting unalived by a close family member.
Yeah, but that's why I keep my
Why are you
distance.
engaging
See,
in
I keep my
high-risk
distance.
behaviors?
Oh.
Marcia?
Different continents, man.
Yeah, but this is
Lucia.
not expedient. It's not even good. It's not even good practical or
No,
it's not
I'm
even a
not
good
saying. Come on,
prescription.
but I'm
Can I
not
be honest?
saying.
Wait,
But
can
what
I
I'm
be
saying.
honest?
Listen, but James, I'm not saying go into this hyperventilating. Super cautious. Like, no, you can definitely
You are,
go
though.
and engage in all kinds of activities, but provided that you are aware of what you're getting into.
All right. Well, if
And
it's
what I
just about
said
being
still
aware,
stands.
I guess, but it does kind of seem a bit superstitious and
No, it's just like facts are facts. I don't care about anything else.
maybe hyperbolic is the word. Hyperbolic, not
No, I
superstitious.
didn't hyperbolic. No, I just said about just the numbers. That's all I care. Like that's all
So
I
do
mentioned.
you go around telling people, hey, here's the chances of being struck by lightning if you're outside?
That's not even
Right.
what we're talking
And then
about.
you
though.
say, like, why are you telling kids that? Hey, if you go outside, you have X% chance of being struck by lightning. The logical conclusion by anyone is you telling them, hey, maybe you shouldn't go outside.
No,
Right.
that's your maybe interpretation. But what
So
I'm
you
saying
just
is they
doing
know
random
just a
facts, Miss
second.
Dia, for no purpose?
Well, okay, excuse me just a second. So what I'm saying is they should at least know, like, for example, again, I'll repeat. So when I was talking about and I often do, because I do see like the divorce courts and the divorce rates and what is happening. If someone is a young person is just, romanticizing it, I'm like, hey, this is the reality of today. So make sure at least you know this and you get into this with a mindset that, this is what you want, right?
Do
So
you
don't
do
go,
the
like,
risk for the other
don't-
side?
We all do, but we
No,
all
I meant,
do
but Miss
risk
Dia,
and-
you communicated the
which
risk
side?
of what
Which
could
side are
happen
you
to a
talking?
woman. Do
Which
you
side?
communicate the risk of what could happen to an unmarried woman who continues to be sexually active?
More
Right? Or do you
likely-
only give the stats of what
You're
happens
more
if you
That
get
is
married?
even
to
more
get
dangerous.
struck by
That's
lightning.
actually even
I just looked
that's
this
even more
up.
That's
You're
even more
more
dangerous.
likely to get struck by lightning than your partner being unaliving you. It's
Oh
roughly
my gosh, there's
240,000
no freaking way. There's no
Yeah.
way.
There you
There's
go.
no
I
way.
don't think so.
Hold up. You can look this up yourself. 240,000 people are estimated each year to be struck by fucking lightning.
What are they
How
doing?
many
They're running
people
up and
are
down.
struck by lightning?
Wait, how many of those are men and how
Oh,
many are
shut
women?
up.
Yeah. Oh no! Don't please.
I'm
don't- I don't
joking,
wanna
I'm
go
joking.
down.
It's the
I'm joking.
patriarchy coming
And-
from the. It's the
And they're like,
You
and
understand
how much of that is because of the patriarchy?
Oh
So-
no! Even worse.
How much of that is James' fault
man,
personally?
come on.
Yeah, so for example,
Well-
getting struck by lightning is also including your house being struck by lightning, and there's zaps that go through the house, and you might not feel it, but it still does happen. When it comes
Yes.
to the situation
You
that happens,
shouldn't have a house.
you are more likely to get struck by fucking lightning than getting unalived by your partner. This is how
Yeah, but
hyperbolic.
let's say I'm sitting at home right now, like just chilling.
Yeah, your
cup-
house just
cup
got
of
struck
coffee.
by lightning. You're more
And then-
likely to do that than get
Yeah,
unalived.
no lightning, but there's like my neighbor. She's getting whacked by her husband, right? Who's supposed to protect her. But like, what the heck
But
are
you're
we talking
saying-
about?
but
You know, this
look
is,
how you're
just
framing it,
describing
Nestia. Look how you're
neuroticism
framing
to
it.
the nth degree.
I'm not
Right.
neuroticism. It's just a fact.
Neuroticism,
And
right,
it's just
is the
like
heightened
it's a
awareness of
headache,
what
like,
could
it's
go
not
wrong.
worth it. It's
Right?
worth-
It's pain avoidance, right?
But that's
and if
women.
if a highly
Why would,
neurotic
like, no, but
person
it's
is
a
the
t-
person
no,
who
but
maximizes their life to try to avoid pain, even
no,
at
so
the
I'm
cost of
doing
all the
risk
good things.
analysis, right?
But
Like, I
women are
would
just
go bungee
neurotic.
jumping.
She's just being a woman. She's just being more women than
And-
Oh,
what women
shut
like.
up, James.
I just mean that even
but I
women
would
have a
go back,
scale
like,
of neuroticism, and this is now going to the the
no, but what I'm
the
saying is I have an
stratosphere,
aversion. I have
right,
an
of
aversion.
neurotic
I
behavior.
have
No,
an aversion to people who publicize, like, a relationship or getting into relationship. That's just the aversion I have. I'd engage in like other activities. But people might say, okay, that is, very risky. Why would you do that? Like, I travel to places.
All right,
They
well,
say,
then
why
how
would
about
you
this?
go there?
Maybe we can concede here. Maybe we can all come to an agreement here. If you're with a man who loves you and you're working together to be in a relationship with him towards long term in a marriage, can we agree that it's
Yeah.
highly unlikely that that he's going to end your life? Can we agree on that?
Yes. Yes.
Can we agree on that,
Yeah, of
Mestia?
course.
All right, so then let's
Well, yeah,
just
only up until, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
all
I'm
right.
kidding.
So
I
then
agree.
let's just
I
move
was
forward
say,
here
yeah,
because
you're
we
more
have
likely to get struck by fucking lightning by your
let's
partner.
No, that's not the case.
let's just
Happy.
move forward here.
Just take
So
the L and
back
just
back to it.
You want
Tet-
me to give you sources
well,
from
hold on,
that?
hold on.
Fuck
Let's
you.
let's continue. Let's
Yeah,
continue
he's
forward.
losing it.
Happy,
I
or
will.
not happy. Tet and the lady. Who's the other lady? Kissing.
Yes.
Fool. What does that? What does that even mean?
Kissing a fool.
Kissing.
Oh,
Oh,
Are
kissing.
you the fool?
No.
You're
All the
kissing.
guys I kiss.
You,
All the
oh,
men I
that's
kiss are.
unfortunate.
No,
That's
no.
unfortunate.
No, it's a joke. It's a joke.
Okay, so Kissing and Tet, you guys are up. You see, this is a patriarchal panel here. At least a couple of us are. So, what are your contentions at this point? Because where we started off, Kissing, I don't want women to get no maternity leave. I don't want them to have any those type of sexual protections. So, do you have any contentions
Wait,
with that?
what's sexual protection? Sorry,
Well-
I missed that. Like, you mean the AB
No,
aside from AB?
maternity
I
leave?
know.
Oh,
And they should be discriminated against. So
Maternity
I know you might have a
Yeah.
contention with that, or Tet, what do you guys have a contention with regarding what's been said or the overall prompt? Come on, woman.
Well, I know that.
Oh, now you're
Can
you're
you
cutting
guys
up.
hear me?
We can hear you now.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a reception issue.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe get better Wi-Fi.
Yeah. No, what I was going to say is, obviously I'm a woman, so I see it from my perspective and not from your perspective, right? But every
know that
time
you're
I
a woman.
hear this, every time I hear men say things like, that they don't want us to work or they don't want us to do this or that, and it very much feels like a threat to me in my life and my lifestyle because I need to work in order to take care of myself and my children. And I find it very scary. I find it very scary language, right? And I look at men who are like black men and I look at them and I go, well, how come you're not protecting us when once upon a time you couldn't work? Like your rights weren't protected in this country. And you would think that there would be some sort of
Grace
I
or
guess
understanding?
some grace and understanding, and I don't get that. What I hear is it just men being together as a front saying, well, we want you back in the kitchen. And I I'm 47. I never was raised to be in the kitchen. We're talking about a generation of women that are boomers, right? I mean, they're not, this is not even something that I grew up with. Even my mom worked, so you want to take us back to a place where we don't know. We've never existed in that lifestyle.
Okay, so I
And so
understand
how
it can be threatening. Well, how about this?
It is very
I
threatening.
think if Mesty was asking or someone was asking about what I would allow, I'm not sure if Happy agrees on this, but for women who are widowed or who ain't got no man, just let them work.
Mhm.
I would say if they're widow, yeah, they can work if they want to. But when it comes to this, can I ask you a couple questions real quick, Kiss?
Sure.
Do you have any kids by any chance?
I do. I have 2 sons.
Okay. How old were you when you had your first kid, if I can ask? I understand if you don't.
27 and 30 when I had my second.
Okay. Were you a single mom at that time?
No.
Did you have someone that was working most of the time for you so you can be able to stay at home and spend time with your kids?
No, I actually made more money than him.
So wait, when you
So
gave
we
birth,
both worked. We both worked.
wait, so when you gave birth, did you go back to work the next day?
8 weeks later, after, because I had to have a C-section, so 8 weeks after the
Yep.
medical leave, I went back to work.
Yeah, I understand. When it comes to
both
this,
times.
I just had my first kid, right?
Yeah.
How much time do you think you missed with your kid when you were at work?
I mean, I was gone all day, of course. Yeah, they were with the daycare.
Were you there where they took their first steps?
Yes.
Were you there?
Luckily, but I mean, definitely could not have been. Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
So when it comes to the situation that's proposed, right, would you say that it's more caring of a society to take care of their children instead of pushing them off onto other individuals that might not have the best interest of them at heart?
I would say that I think it's a wonderful thing if you can stay home with your children, but a lot of us cannot,
I
especially
can
in this
demonstrate we
economy.
can. if we remove women from the workforce, it would be very simple, right? All of these jobs would have to be competitive for the limited market. Do you understand simple economics?
But who's
Supply and
supporting
demand.
these families?
Yeah, it would be the
There's
man.
so many, but they're not. I mean, how many single moms are there?
So here's another factor about single mothers that individuals don't like to take into consideration, right? Women have a monopoly on who gets to bear children with them. Do you disagree with this?
Yes, they do.
Do you disagree that with the single mother outhood based off of feminism, it has caused a lot more women to date individuals that should typically not bear offsprings until they understand their job as an individual?
I think that's a very nuanced conversation. I mean, I was 27 and I thought I knew enough to know what a good man was and what a good man wasn't, right?
And was
I
that
mean,
the case?
no, I mean, I think we had a good run for like almost a decade, and I caught him cheating and I just didn't want to stay. I mean, but if the world was different and I had to stay because financially I had to rely on him, well, I'd be miserable.
So let me give you a framework of the system that I advocate for, and you can tell me that you agree or disagree. First, I would advocate for the situation of removing women in the workplace because it would be economically supply and demand. It would be the understanding that the individuals that are left in the market are going to be competitive when it comes to this. Jobs have to be offering more money for these individuals to come to their businesses versus where they were at beforehand. Second aspect is going to be the case that the individuals in question, the mothers, are going to have a lot more best interest for their child versus some random person down the street. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't leave your child with some random person, even if someone says, oh, they're a good person. You wouldn't trust that right away. Conclusion, I would advocate for a society where women can decide to be at home with their kids out of their own free will, where they can wake up at 6 o'clock, take care of their kids, teach them a lot better than the fucking education system that we have now, and be able to be there for when the first time they walk.
All right, so happy. How does that answer her specific scenario?
About the economics.
For those who have
supply and
relationships problems that are justified for them to leave, like infidelity.
Yeah. So for them for leaving for the situation, this would be a society pressure like how it has always been, right? The churches initially, all of these 304 behaviors, these individuals that would cheat, infidel, everything like that, they would be shamed. A lot of these individuals would change their way. This is why we see OF fans or OF models changing their
ways. So why would I want to do business with them?
Yeah, so if you are a owner of a company and you hire P3s, do you think a lot of individuals would want to go to your business?
Because that's a crime. That's a crime.
Well, it don't
We're
have to
not
be a
talking
crime.
about
It don't have to be a crime. We all wouldn't want.
crime.
It wouldn't have to be a crime for us not to like it, right? In the same way, it's not a crime for us to not like adulterous men, even though adultery is not.
Here,
a crime.
I'll change it because since you wanted to say it's a crime. This business is full of fucking cheaters and they treat their partners really bad. Would you want to go to that business, or would you go down to the business 2 seconds away where they treat their partners
But
lovely?
like, I don't care about cheaters. Like, who cares? Like these days, like you cheat, okay, fine.
Well, it has.
yeah,
if
that's a
you're wise, it
problem.
has implications on how you have other relationships. If you cheat on the most fundamental and the most intimate relationship, every other relationship is in question. Whether you're going to be honorable or loyal to others, it's simple.
Yeah, but there are
reasoning and
people
logic.
who do it the other way too.
But
They're
you don't have the
faithful.
right to financially impact someone because of your dislikes.
My grandmother caught her husband cheating, and she divorced him. And the milkman wouldn't bring her milk because she was a divorced woman. You know. So I feel like society used to punish people for their
Yeah.
actions, and
Now we don't
and-
because the
and now
degenerate.
we don't. And now we have a president who, you know.
Yeah,
We're not getting into the-
Yeah, but we
We're
likely
not
wouldn't
getting into
have
the president.
Adulterous men
Yeah, we
running
are,
the
but
country.
that's open.
We likely
Wait, we're
wouldn't
not going
have
to
had.
get into the president, but the hypothetical
Your
society
state
that
of head, like, come on.
hold up.
Like it's a trickle,
grabbing
like it's a
women by the-
trickle down.
Yeah, it would.
you know?
It would
Yeah,
affect
yeah,
that.
no,
It
no, no.
stands to reason it would affect
Yeah,
that.
it would affect it too. But right now, when it comes to the hypothetical society that I advocated for, is that a bad society?
No, I think it would be great, honestly.
All right,
Cool. So
so
then guess what that makes you?
they're raised by an apathetic person who doesn't get a living wage. Well, now we need to create a living wage. And now that we have to have a living wage, we price out people who want to actually start businesses who can't afford that. So, and then
Well,
on
why
top of
don't
that,
you make
because the
it
kids
such
not
a
being raised by their parents, the ones who love them the most, are less likely to be successful. They're less, so if they go to school, wait a minute, when you go to school, you K through 12, you actually don't have much skill. So now we have to constantly play whack-a-mole with more and more governmental policies that just so happen to serve the needs of.
Hey James, but those children in daycare are protected from being with their mothers.
Yeah, but the
Wait,
thing
but
is,
it's
like,
women, but it's women
Well,
taking care of the kids, so it
yeah,
sounds like
but
women
James,
are
though,
Let me demonstrate it. Ready? When did women get
Right, you got it. I'm listening.
Wait, so when did women get the rights to vote first?
See, right after the suffrage.
1919 or
Yeah,
1917?
1919, the 19th Amendment.
Okay.
Yep. Look at the inflation in the national jet and at the same time the GDP intake or decrease when it comes to women going into the situation. It has affected and caused more inflation in our fucking society than beforehand in any other society.
Well, it's
No,
just
if
supply
you
and
think
it's supply and
capitalism-
demand here. Here's how it works.
coming around
Kissing. You increase the supply. If you increase the supply, you lower the price because demand lowers in response to the supply. So let's just say you have a bunch of apples that you're trying to sell. You have 50, okay, and you only have 50 in your entire country, and you own those apples. They're going to be a certain price, and the less apples you have, the more you sell, the higher the price.
4 million people in the United States. And how many jobs do you think there are in the United States? Do you think there's 334 million jobs? No.
Oh, so what you're saying is because there's women taking jobs away from men, is what you're saying.
No, because with the market being flooded with two aspects instead of one aspect, these jobs don't have to be competitive anymore.
Yeah, and I'll bite the bullet, and I'll say women.
yeah, just
I'll bite the
okay.
bullet.
But James, and I want to ask, okay, and Happy. So in your nightmarish world, in your society, ideal like a patriarchal society. So would you then say, okay, what would happen to a woman who decides, okay, I don't want to have kids, I don't want to like get married? What happens to her? Because there's like a lot
if she wants to be a eunuch.
Individual that didn't want to get married, right? Didn't want to have kids.
But James, would you bar?
No,
that
I keep explaining that women who are widows, women who have lost their husband, women perhaps who I'll even give more of an olive branch. Women who were in circumstances of a controversy that was not their fault and they're victimized and they're out of a marriage, let them work. But once they get that husband,
they just don't want anything to do with marriage or anything. Just like
yeah,
just
then
as
let
a
them work.
preference.
Who cares? Who cares? But that's going to be less women. It's going to be less women
Yes,
by
so
at least
I'm
by
not
at least
gonna give it
70%.
all
Yeah, but I mean, I don't
Oh,
see.
okay,
Okay,
well.
so if you're making it, I don't see a problem then. If you're making the environment healthy in a way such that you're saying, okay, let women be able to stay home, and I'm not sure. Like, I mean, I don't see any problem, to be
I'm
honest.
not giving an olive branch because even if we have women that are in the workplaces, it's still going to have a negative effect because of the supply and demand. This is going to be the first aspect. We're going to start slowly but surely making sure that the wages
By force, though? By force?
by force. No, it can be just by social pressure.
Oh my God.
It
All
could
right,
be.
and if that doesn't work, and if that doesn't work,
A lot of
But
women.
what will happen, let's say in my home, I'm the only adult, I'm the only parent, I have 2 teenage sons. They're not
they have dependents. What about
I am-
those who have dependents?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is where I'm also going to advocate for a society where how it used to be, based off the church actually helping, and the churches that aren't doing this, like some of the mega churches, which I have a problem with, where they're not taking care of their people or taking care of their local community. I would hold them to a higher standard too, because these churches used to do this, but guess what happened?
So the church is supposed to take care of me and my children?
Yeah, churches used to a lot actually.
So basically, you're gonna be a destitute. Basically, you're gonna live on handouts.
Wouldn't that put me into the system and a drain on your resources? Because now I'm taking handouts from other people.
No, so when we're talking about how churches used to work, for example, let's just use a society that had 100,000 people, and out of the 100,000 people, 25,000 people went to this church for some reason, right? Even though this is outrageous, hypothetical in of itself, not even mega churches have this. Individuals would typically, the churches aren't getting taxed in the first place because of tithes, being able to help out the local community. A lot of these places aren't doing this. They're not getting shamed for it either based off of this. That's why it would be more logical to be able to help with the supply market by removing these individuals, putting men back into these jobs, and taking care of the whole net negative in of itself.
No, I'm sorry. I have to disagree with that. First of all, that sounds like I'd be 100% on either the government's tit or the church's tit or somebody's tit. I'm sucking on it, and somebody has to feed me.
Yeah,
Versus,
so well, I think at this point, Happy, my proposal sounds better than yours.
Wait, let me
Yeah, actually, James, you sound reasonable.
Let me
Happy,
rephrase it
and
real quick.
Happy, let me just tell you, I'm a business development manager. I work for a global staffing agency, and I staff for companies. And one of the jobs one of the trades that I staff for quite often is skilled trades. And we do a lot of skilled trades work, welders, CNC machinists. There are largely roles filled by men, and we cannot find men to do these jobs.
Why do you think that is the case?
Why do you think that's the case?
Yeah, because the supply market on these companies or in the market in of itself has been destroyed by having both sides into it.
Incorrect.
What happens when we decided to neutralize 38 or 40% of the working population?
Right, there's going to be a short-term correction. It's going to hurt, but it's going to lead to long-term.
I think it's called economic
correction right
destruction.
now.
No, it's just
Like,
called
it's
austerity.
destroyed.
It's called austerity. When you have here's what's going on right now. Overseas, we're more dependent on outside sources for our own sustainability as far as production and workforce is concerned. That's what's going on right now.
Makes those rules is OSHA.
OSHA makes the rules because there's a woman
Men
complaining
get injured
about
on the
OSHA.
job.
No,
No,
there
because
wouldn't-
men get injured on the job because they don't get breaks. There are rules in place because people used to get locked in warehouses and all kinds of things that would happen, and people would die. And so
Yeah,
all
but
of
at
these
least
things-
kids don't need. At least men don't need maternity leave. They don't need air conditioners. They don't need freaking. They don't need their working conditions. They don't mind. They don't mind a little bit of sexual harassment here and there. Women complain about god awfully everything.
That's so funny that you say that, because do you know how many men we put in jobs and they cannot last even a day?
Why? Because
you
they
guys
looked
are
at somebody's
talking
butt
about-
cheeks.
You guys are talking about a generation of men that no longer exist. These
Because
men-
of feminism.
Yeah,
Okay,
feminism
but
coddles women. There's
regardless of what the situation is, we've got a group of men that are younger, right? Probably under 18 to 30. And these men have no skills. They don't know how to read a tape measure. They can't do math. They have no interest in doing anything that is, they don't want to climb a pole. Like, talk to
All right,
anybody
yeah,
in skilled trades.
okay. Well, happy.
They can't do any
well,
of that
hold
work.
on, Happy. Can I answer this? Because it's really easy. If you made it more money, they would just work. They would work. You don't know what men will go through if you just pay them the correct amount. It's crazy.
They
Like
make more money than women by far in these roles, and
you
they
need
don't
to make
want
it.
them.
You need to make it more appealing. The rate is not competitive enough for men to say that they
I
want
know
to.
HVAC technicians who make $80 an hour, and they cannot get anybody to
But
do
I
the
bet you
job.
they do it at. I bet you they would do it at 160.
And hold up, even if you
So
want
how
to
does that correct the market?
It corrects the market because you lower the supply of the entire economy as a whole.
Supply
The
is
wages will.
already low. Look up this article about, it's called the Sandsdemic. Look it up.
Sansdemic. Okay, I'll look it up.
Correct.
Happy you're up.
We can actually talk about the situation taking place, right? Even for HVAC, to get up to the $80 an hour, what do you have to do to get to that? How much
You
do
have
you
to be a master tech, technician.
Wait, how much? No, so if it is the case, right, you can go through college, or you can go through the other way by getting hired into the business, starting out as nothing, getting into apprentice, then get into the situation, right? But when you are starting off, how much do you think they make?
I'm looking right now. Let me see what the top.
25 when they're new.
Nope.
Well, at least in my area. I'm in California.
17?
I'm in California.
On average, it's going to be roughly between 17 and 20.
Right. That's not even like yeah. So yeah,
That's it.
once
So
you
that-
become like your journeyman and once you get past your apprenticeship, Yeah, you might be
That's
making money,
where
but this is after the grueling hours. You have to put like 2,000 to 5,000 hours just to even qualify to make the money you're talking about. Not when you start off. You have to be under someone.
When it comes to the initial start, if we remove women from in of itself,
But women are not doing that job, Happy.
No, I'm talking about the whole market, right? Because it would be a limited supply. So, for example, here, I'll use my energy drink.
Hold on. That's insane. People still need AC. If I'm at home, I still need AC.
If you're at home, you still need AC. Yes, but there will be more people who are going to pay it at a higher. There are going to be more people who want to pay her at a higher rate than. Okay, so here's what's going on. Well, let me just address your last contention. You're saying that's a different market. That's already a market that's saturated by men, and women don't want to do that job. Correct?
I say that most women won't do the job,
Yeah,
feel
most
that
women
they
won't do
can't
the job.
physically do it. They just won't do it, right? They won't. But largely younger men won't do it either at
Yeah.
this point.
So if the economy is such that there will be more money to go around because of women leaving the workforce, it would stand to reason that that market would also benefit from higher wages as well. There would be less women working HR. There would be less women working the companies that the blue collar company outsources that involve women. It means that the wages are just going to increase overall.
But but women are not absorbing that work is what I'm saying. Like, I don't know a single woman who's an industrial maintenance mechanic. Yet the average age of an industrial maintenance mechanic in this country, or at least in my state, is like 55.
Yeah,
we cannot find young men who do this work. They won't do it.
It's not expensive enough. It's not worth it at this point.
But when we talk about a market, it's going to be inclusive to everyone that is in it. So even if you want to say, well, we want to be very precise and talk about blue collar, okay, well, this is still affected by restaurants.
How would you pay them more, and then the cost of everything is going to go up? And how does that help if there's only one income in the house?
Yeah, so King, Kissing, my bad. I'm also working right now. When it comes to the situation that's proposed, right? When it comes to any type of job, is going to be part of the market in of itself. When you have two demographic of people, the supply, would you say the supply is unlimited in that situation? Would you say the supply is unlimited in that situation when there's 334 million people? Versus, let's just say,
I think that we don't. I think we're kind of upside down, aren't we? Like, the average age in the country is what? It's high. Like, there are not enough young people entering the workforce.
No,
meaning,
it said given up looking for jobs. We have 105 million people of working age who are not working. Most of them have given up, and it's a lot of it's because there's like the younger people are not getting a start because so many older people, including women, are fulfilling jobs. Right, that we actually need younger people to start fulfilling, but they're not available.
Yeah, and that's why when it comes to the market in of itself of jobs, right? Let's just say that there's 150 million jobs inside of the United States in this hypothetical. Okay. There's 334 million people. If you add men and women into this mix, how likely is it that this job market is going to be very competitive?
It'll be competitive on
competitive, yeah.
It'll be competitive on the employee side, competing for the market, competing for the employer, as opposed to the other way around. Yeah. Where the supply haps, it'll be more of an employee's market.
Yeah, that's why I was getting to that point. So when
now we have a huge issue that is starting to hit this country, which is that the baby boomers, which is one of the largest generations, right? I mean, they're larger than my generation and they're larger than even millennials. So baby boomers, right, are in droves. Millions and millions of them are retiring every year. Yeah. And as they retire, right, what goes away with that? Skills. There's a statistic that says for every baby boomer that retires, we need 2.5 people to replace them that are not.
Social Security is a joke.
Because we can't support them on Social Security. We can't support.
Yes.
We can't support them at all, and they're a drain on our resources because we do not have young enough people entering the market.
But do you know why we don't have young people? Right. Where do you think the collapse of birth rates happened once women had birth control and started working?
Oh, I'm for sure.
Like,
it's I mean, I think
the more that we're saying, hey, we don't have young people, so women all need to be working more, right? We're fighting a losing battle. Like
And this
the
is why
most optimal scenario that we should be aligning around is how can we have 2 parent households with children and 1 income, right? Whatever we need to do to make that like the primary basis for society means that you have 2 people who can maintain a household, only 1 person has to work, and there's someone there in order to do child rearing for children, right? That is the optimal for the economy. It's the optimal for the population, for long-term support for all of our entitlements.
and the
Right?
Let's say we waved a magic wand and we said, starting tomorrow that happens. How long? I mean, literally, James, you said it. We are going to hurt bad.
Yeah, but it's either
right?
we're going to hurt now or we're not going to have anything left. There's not
how
much of an
long-
option.
Yeah,
Probably,
how
I
long
don't.
do you
I
think
honestly
we
don't know.
can
Maybe a
sustain that?
generation, maybe half. I don't know.
I wouldn't
But
say
James-
it would be a full generation. I would say it would be a quarter to maybe almost a half of a generation. And yes, the hypothetical I was presenting to you, it's very much on the business right now getting to determine instead of it being on the individual that is applying for the job. The society that I'm advocating for would be reversed, where the individual is going to be more likely to pay more. And it's been self-evident based off of multiple societies versus how it is now where we're actively getting railed.
But James, would you say that then this would your version of the way you presented things that would correct the birth rate somehow? Like,
Yes.
Yeah. Of
yeah,
having,
but like I mean, but if
having
you,
a 1 income household with only 1 person working?
yeah, but with all this that
Yeah, because
ideology, do you think women are just
feminists
going to say,
best-
okay, now I'm just going to go and get married.
Really
and-
make this the most advantageous financial position to be in with taxes and entitlements.
Yeah,
Right?
you'd have
you
to
do
reject
everything you
society.
can to encourage it.
So how
Yeah.
would
Right
you,
now, we're
how
doing
would you
everything we
make
can to
men?
discourage it.
How would you make men, stay and raise their families? Because that's
Well,
a huge issue.
Social pressure and at the same time penalties for the
Huge
individuals
issue.
like we have
Yeah.
always done.
Yeah, because right now we're
No fault-
spending.
and
We're
also
spending.
take no fault divorce. Women are the ones leaving like over 80% of the time.
And it's not
So-
infidelity. It's
Yeah.
like irreconcilable differences. It's like it's
Yeah.
not even like the
Typically,
second
lack
reason
of
why they're leaving.
Yeah, it's lack of feelings for the majority of the reasons.
So I just want to quote something. I just googled it up real quick. I said, how much do we pay in welfare outside of Social Security? It's 1.8 to $2 trillion annually. Annually. So the less people, the more money that's going in, that's actually created by job is going to be less people that are going to need this as well.
Man, that's like.
This
what do
is
you?
the-
There are going to be
This
less
is
people
the
that need to
same
depend
way
on
I
the state.
debated Dean. Yeah,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is the same way I've debated Dean. When it comes to the situation, yes, it would be better. Yes, it would be in the short run a lot harder, and it might be a little more problematic in the short run, but at least we know our society would stand versus it falling. Do you guys want a society that falls?
Why are
No,
you
but
saying
we
that it will
can't
fall if they continue to be in the workforce? I think that with women that are experts in their field, there doesn't seem to be anything that would lead to saying that like the shortfall of money. If you change the monetization system, monetization and payment, right, that doesn't lead to anything but allowing people to get paid more for their respective field. I don't know that eliminating half the workforce would do anything. It wouldn't, and I don't think it's ever shown to do anything.
Yeah,
I mean,
wait,
I'll tell you, my boss would be right up there, ready to fight you because I make her millions and millions of dollars a year.
your boss
you know?
wouldn't be there, so it wouldn't be a problem.
I mean,
but
she owns
she-
the business.
Yeah, because he
she-
removed her by force. Remember?
No, social pressure. There's a difference. Force is going
Yeah,
to
but
be.
social
might
pressure
just
is not going to
equal.
work nowadays.
I mean,
the horse
I-
is
All right.
not
Well,
the bar.
how about this?
I-
How about this? Because this is a good
Go
point.
ahead.
Because Keith was explaining like monetary policy it's not going to do much. So what makes you think this will? Was that
Yeah.
your original question, Keith?
That's where I was leading.
Yeah. So
If monetary if I change the monetization, then why would taking women out of the workforce and eliminating 45% of the workforce, why would that work?
Well, I think you probably have to make it multi-pronged because there's many institutions that are really safe havens for bad behavior. It's not just female voting and how they tend to politically organize. It's not just that. It's also the monetary policy. You have to attack that too, because when you're talking about all these companies that are making money, how much of a benefit is it for society? I tend to question that because right now we have policy that's revolved around cheap money, such that people who shouldn't be having businesses are running such And if you notice, whenever there's downturns, you see economic impacts that actually are foreshadowing what's going to happen in the future. If in COVID, there's companies that failed because perhaps they were over levered and they couldn't weather the storm, well, this should be evidence that these companies were never meant to survive. They couldn't weather 2 to 3 years of hardship. So I'm explaining. You probably want to make the situation multi-pronged, where you limit the supply of money. You stop having the banks inflate the money to lower interest rates, because if interest rates become natural such that they're not subsidized by the government, then there's going to be companies that are going to have to be austere as well. And what I mean by that is there are going to be more companies that are not going to be created because they can't run lean. So that's how we're going to do a multi-pronged thing. So let me just run it again. Whatever. Basically,
because when it comes to capitalism, right, these individual companies that do get subsidized, they're reliant on the tax dollars. We can be demonstrated this, COVID, the housing market. There's been multiple situations where those businesses failed. Other companies that came
and only one income. And then, but you didn't make it gendered, and you allowed the people to decide, is it the man or the woman working, right? Rather than try to legislate that last piece. My guess is some families would formulate where the woman decides to work and the man stays home, but not a high percentage. Like, there are some things that would just solve itself, right? If you had, right, a structure that encouraged, supported, right, a family unit being together with one income and children bearing, right? I think people would organize themselves most likely to be the man working and the woman staying, but it would allow for the exception to happen. And if it's a small enough percentage, it doesn't have the negative effects that we're talking about to society.
Yeah, that's where me and Happy would disagree. That's why I tend to be more libertarian in this regard.
I would let only men work when it comes to the situation. I wouldn't propose women, because we need a higher birth rate when it comes to other societies that we have problems with, kind of like that.
But the enforcement cost is probably not worth the incremental benefit, is what I'm saying.
I would disagree.
Well, that's where
we're talking, but hold on, we're king.
I think it comes to things like Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, right? I want to tie those to the number of children that you brought into society.
Yeah, well, no baby mamas. What? Remember my contention. Understand? Okay, here's the thing: women are still out there having sex, right? But men are not out there getting married, because women have a monopoly on this market. They can control. It's that the men are deciding that they don't want to get married. This is how we need to encourage men to get married, because women are not the ones who are having problems with this.
But James, I'm looking at a society. Wait, I'm looking at a society where you introduce this new legislative, right? Then women are not going to be, by and large, happy with it, right? So they're going to say, well, why am I going to be involved with a man at all?
Let them. Okay, right. Well, this austerity I was talking about.
The highest amount of taxes and the least amount of entitlements.
Look, no one's forcing them to get married. They can die alone. Who cares?
Yeah. And you can pay a high tax rate with no breaks, and you get very few entitlements.
Like your whole family to, like increase family, like, like the nuclear family under that patriarchy. That's what I thought you were for.
Yeah, I'm for it, but I'm
just.
If you want to buck the system, and then you pay your own, you save your own retirement, save for your own Medicare, Medicaid, right? Well, in other words, that money is left there for those who have created family formation and had generations to support future societies. So if you want to buck the system, great. We're just giving you no money for doing it.
Wait, Kim, that's a force.
Wait, what about the taxes? Like, are you going to be expecting people to pay taxes still though? Like, how does that work? Like,
well, if you don't work, you ain't getting taxed.
Wait, but you're going to keep my money. So how does that work? Wait, you're going to keep someone's money and then say, okay, because you didn't, like, we're going to use it because we're a family, but you don't get anything out of that tax money. That's messed up.
No,
you still get to use the police. You still get to use. You still get to use the police. You still get to use CERB in general.
Yeah.
So in that case, I'm just trying to understand. So I'm a single mom, right? And I've been single for 15 years. And I choose not to get married or to be in a relationship with anyone because I don't want to bring anyone around my children. I don't think that that's the right thing to do. And I will wait until they're grown, right? If at all. I'm already in my 40s, so it's not a big deal to me. Now, I work and I take care of us completely. I don't receive any child support. I don't receive any Medi-Cal benefits. I don't receive any benefits from the state. I 100% earn my money and I take care of my children 100% on my own.
Yeah. So
Right.
grace, or so kissing. This is called a grace period. All right, grace period. Simple. For all calling all United citizens. What the feminist intent, her political goals were, is a different thing from the reality that they're claiming is happening. That's what I'm asking you about. Where are
James-
these independent from men who are generally going to take the most? They're going to be the most opposed to this, but there are women who tend to be more agreeable and tend to go with the flow with how the laws work. The less radical ones, they're probably the ones that are better off mating with in the first place.
And highly feminist
There are
women
gonna be women that will
have
reduce
almost
the amount of
no
children.
children today.
Yeah,
right?
the ones
Literally,
most
women who identify as highly liberal and feminist, they have 0.5 kids for every 2 people. That means they reproduce, right? For every 20 people, they create 20 parents. They create 5 children.
they're already
So
of no
because they're
societal
not
use
forced.
anyways.
they already do not reproduce.
They're already
But
no
it's
benefit.
because- but it's
Okay, well, 2.1 to me sounds better than 0.5. Because
Yeah,
if we're looking
right,
at the
yeah,
if we're
yeah.
looking at both sides of the spectrum, if you're going to be, who's going to be more likely to agree with this? People on the left or people on the right?
Right.
Okay, we have more kids than them anyways,
Yeah.
and they and the ones on the left have even less than even a fraction of replacement.
Yeah.
But do you think the women on the right are gonna be like, oh, this is, I mean, what I find is even the women on the right are like, even though they say I'm a traditionalist, I'm not a feminist, they tend to be very feminist.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that some covert feminists are. I don't doubt that some
we would be
libertarian.
offering tax breaks and supporting structures
Yeah.
to married families with children. They'll go bananas happy. Where they're going, finally, we get some relief where we can have just a single income and be able to live at home, right? And get more entitlements and protections, right? And we can actually focus on just having a family and not trying to have, 2 incomes and paying for daycare, right? It's like, yeah, no, there'll be like really different ways in which we would enforce it, right? But allow for like kissing, right? To say, oh, in their structure, they really want the woman to work and the man
Yeah,
to
I
stay
don't
at
care
home.
about their
And
structure.
you're like,
They're
okay,
a minority
fine.
group in of
Yeah.
itself.
Yep. That's why I'm saying that's why you wouldn't have to fight against them by not trying to enforce which
Yeah,
gender
the
they want.
minority do not have the monopoly on boards. They have to appeal to the
Well-
masses. There's
Well,
always
like
been
my personal nightmare is having to be forced to get married to a man. That's
Well,
like my
luckily-
nightmare.
point said that you
Well,
would be
you got
forced.
lucky because Happy's world will never exist, right?
Actually, it would
We
exist.
all got pretty lucky that his nightmare society will never come
Only
to
in
fruition.
Afghanistan, though, which is ironic. Probably he went to fought against the Taliban. Just a whole kind of weirdness.
Hey,
Yeah,
a broken
don't
clock can be
subscribe.
can be right 2 times a day. So
Yeah,
But
so
guess what's
even-
happening when the fact that we're not
Afghanistan-
reproducing?
When the Crusades were
Okay, well,
20% of the
I've-
population of Earth got murked.
No, during the Crusades, half the population of the earth did not get murked.
I mean, it's suspected that through all the 6 Crusades, man, and 3 of them
There
were
was more than 6 crusades. There was estimated roughly around 2,000 crusades.
all right,
We
guys.
understand,
So
but there are
hold on,
6
Keith. I get the contention, but at this point, we're going to be closing out here.
Yeah,
Before
I
we
just
get
have
into
a
the
Thank you
Crusades.
so much for having me up
Nah,
here, James.
Keith, yeah.
I appreciate it, brother.
Nah, thanks for coming up, man. Thanks for coming up, Keith. You're always welcome back.
Yeah,
Kissing, you've been well. Kissing, you're a good sport.
Report him.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, no problem. Mestia, you're always welcome back up. King,
Thank you.
yeah, no
I
problem.
didn't hear that the Dell person. They just came up and didn't say anything.
Dulcimi. Well,
Yeah.
he came on the tail end. You don't have to answer that. You don't have to answer that right now. Don't answer that. Let him
Like,
cross
It
examine
seems
that out of you
but
on
James,
Wednesday.
Whenever I hear this kind of like whatever happy and like they present, it just seems like a fetish, like something that guys stroke off to, like in the
Yeah,
dark.
well, I mean,
Oh, I'm
we
gonna-
heck,
I'm
I
gonna-
would have got off to the fact that I always bring this up, Mestia, but I would have gotten off to the fact of there being more babies born. Okay, that sounds kind of.
and women.
What I mean by that is the 13 states
No, you
got
forgot
they got more restrictions. That sounds like a utopia to me. So that's
Yeah,
it
like
used to be a pie in the sky.
bondage.
I know I always bring it up, but that is a very unprecedented event. So
Yeah, no, and for anyone in here, I enjoy the blood sport when it comes to a debate. This is why I love debating Dean, Parker, and putting all of them in their place, because the blood sport is one of the best aspects that I engage with.
Yeah, and having
Because the
having
individual
a this
came
isn't
up
a
and
safe space
automatically
either.
went to personal attack to me. So I was like, okay, since you want to do a personal attack to me, I'll start doing attacks to you. That is probably statistically the case.
What
Yeah, and I
happened?
think
Like, did
that
he
I think
say?
that's
Wait, I
fair
didn't
because I
hear
run
him
that
say
on
anything.
feminists who come in hot, being loose with their words real quick. So I think that's fair.
But
Dulcimy's
he
Dulcimy's
just
cool
said
though.
like your idea was a whack. Like I mean, your idea.
No, he
Like someone
first came in
attacked.
and said you're fucking are and dumb with the situation proposed
Okay, I
because your
didn't hear.
ideal
Sorry, I
state,
didn't hear that.
yeah, your ideal state does exist, Afghanistan, and he's proposing something into the hypothetical and asserting something into my argument, kind of like the individual earlier, being
But
very emotional.
But happy, I do. Yeah, okay. But I do take it like weird because you did say. I mean, you were in the.
Let us conclude this live. And I want to say thanks for all the likes, guys. In reality, my panel really gets contentious, and what's going to help drive us outside of getting restricted often is your engagement. So I want to thank you guys for the likes, even the last 2 that just popped up right now. Thank you guys for the support, and I'll see you next time. You want to be notified when the next time is? I usually go live Wednesdays and Saturdays for certain, but I often pop in like on today when I do my little pop-up surprise panels. So I really do hate feminism. This is not clickbait. I'll see y'all later. Kissing, thanks for the rose. On the YouTube side, thanks for coming on, or thanks for stopping in, guys. I'll see y'all next time. Remember, I'll allow your comments to derail the panel. Just make sure it's a question that's poignant, and I'll see you guys next time.